Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Thanks for spending it with us. Coming up in just a little bit, one of the most fascinating questions I think we're going to find out here over the next few months is, will the left actually go for Bayh for Secretary of State? And look, if they don't, he's got zero chance to win. In order for Bayh to pull off the upset and become the next Secretary of State, he's got to get all the Democrats, a decent portion of the independents, and even some Republicans, right? It's a 60-40 state. And without all the Democrats, he got no shot. So we've had Jesse Braun on earlier this week, socialist member of the Indianapolis City County Council, said no way, no how, and there's a bunch of people out here like me. And so I thought, well, I wonder if that's true. So we went right to what, like, the best left source I thought we could possibly find. Bayh's opponent at the Democrat convention last month, Blythe Potter. She's going to join us here in just a little bit to talk about whether she's on board with the Bayh campaign and whether she is going to encourage other people on the left, and if she's finding that other people on the left are down with voting for Bayh. So that conversation coming up here in just a little bit. And look, we're going to spend a lot of time over the next several months talking about the Secretary of State's race, because it is everything. You know, our bread is buttered in Indiana news, politics, and government. Politics and government being the primary area. And this race, guys, it is going to be everything. There are so many potential outcomes from this that will shape Indiana politics and government for the next decade. There's so many stories. And one of the big ones is, can Bayh unite the Democrats? Because he sounds very Republican when he talks about a lot of stuff. And as Jesse Braun pointed out, you ain't gonna find Democrat almost anywhere around Bayh's name. So that's going to be an interesting conversation coming up here in just a little bit. Plus, Braun, the governor, went on my old employer the other day, and he said something fascinating about the Bears. And look, Braun says a lot of nonsense, and he just gets away with it. But I saw it, and I said, no. We can't. I get the pushback ain't the name of the game no more. But we got to talk about what Braun said about the Bears, the acknowledgement that he made about the Bears, and it just went, like, under the radar. And I said, that is unbelievable he said that, and we have to talk about it. So join us, sit back, relax, enjoy the day. I know it's a hot one out there. 3 hours of it, primarily Indiana news, politics, and government that you're not going to get anywhere else. Just a reminder, this is it for us this week. No show tomorrow. So whatever you guys do tomorrow, stay out of the papers, but we're not going to be here. And so we're going to bring you the heat. We're going to bring you the smoke. We're going to bring you the best 3 hours we possibly can, because that is it for us this week. Before we get into this fascinating article about the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. And look, manipulate is a strong word, but how the governor appears to be manipulating how much it actually costs to run his office. A couple of reminders, housekeeping notes. Don't forget, if you want to help us out, if you want to help us grow this program, there's 3 ways to do it. We call it like, we call it share, we call it subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. First of all, thumbs up on the YouTube chat. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on demand, give us that little thumbs up button. That really helps us grow the show, helps us grow throughout the show. Share it out. Facebook, Twitter, whatever you got. Let people know about the Rob Kendall Show. Our growth is organic. And last, but certainly not least, subscribe on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Apple, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, you name it. Give us a subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. It's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. One other thing, and then we'll get to the show. Statehouse Happenings is up. We launch it 6 a.m. Thursday mornings. It's the fastest 30 minutes recapping the week that was in Indiana politics and government. And this week, really a very important conversation. Jim Merritt, of course, one of our panelists, he is on that IURC board that is going to appoint make recommendations to the governor on who he should appoint for the next IURC commissioner. Of course, that person will control utility bills for all of us across the state of Indiana. On this week's Statehouse Happenings, which is now available, which you can watch as soon as we're done here today, Jim Merritt takes us behind the scenes. What is the panel that he's on, the nominating committee? What are they looking for from prospective applicants that they're going to hand over to the governor to make the choice? All of our utility bills hang in the balance. Find out what the board is looking for in the next possible member of that commission. Statehouse happenings available now. Okay, let's get to the story in the Indiana Capitol Chronicle about how, and again, manipulation is a strong word, but screw it. I'm using it because that's what I think he's doing. How Braun is manipulating the cost of business for running his office. And this is fascinating. And this is how government works, guys. This is a great piece by the Capitol Chronicle because, look, and we'll get into this. There's nothing illegal about this. It's something that other governors haven't done. However, Braun's I'm slashing everything left and right. And then you realize, no. You're stealing such a strong word. I'll use it here. You're just stealing from other agencies. And then you're going, look at me. Look at what I did. And I'm like, I'm looking at you. You're taking it from other people and you're trying to manipulate what the public thinks you're actually doing. Okay, so the governor's office has a little over 30 employees. Fun fact, if you guys didn't know this, the biggest of all the statewide offices is the Attorney General's office, with hundreds of employees, all these deputy attorney generals, etc. One of the smallest ones in terms of employee size is the governor's office. However, the governor has taken more, according to the Capitol Chronicle, more than half of those 30-plus state employees, and he is paying them by other government agencies. So what he's doing is the people who work in his office because he wants his numbers to look good and he don't want it coming out of his stuff. He says, I'm the governor, I do whatever I please, and I'm going to take money from other government agencies and pay the people that work in my office. So, according to the Capitol Chronicle, of the roughly $3.9 million spent on pay for 33 employees identified, other state agencies funded $2.3 million of that. 58%. He's taking from other agencies, he's paying his own people, and he's going, look at how lean I am. So when you Google it, when you look it up, when you look at the Straight Transparency portal, you look all this up, you go, oh, look at how small Braun's office is. Look at how little money he's actually using. What an efficient little bastard we've got running this state. And then it turns out, he's just taking other people's stuff. It's a very Indiana Republican thing. Just take other people's stuff. So the Capitol Chronicle did a big investigation into this, wrote a huge article about it, which you can read it now. It's absolutely fabulous. By the way, speaking of the Capitol Chronicle, Nikki Kelly will be with us in a little bit, and she's going to talk about just this, about some of the reporting that they did. They asked the governor's office about this little again, scheme is a strong word. It's totally legal. Manipulative, very much. Designed to confuse the public? Probably. But it's totally legal. And here's what the spokesman for the governor had to say. His name is Griffin Reed. Quote, the governor's office does work that spans across all agencies. Rather than assess agencies a fee or charge back for this, like the State Department of Personnel or the Indiana Office of Technology do, the historical practice has been for certain staff within the governor's office to be paid directly by the agencies themselves. And then, of course, here's the excuse. This practice has gone back decades and is well known within the Statehouse. Oh, well, because everyone else did it, we're doing it too. I don't even understand why you're calling me to ask about it. That's the translation. Which, of course, you say to yourself, but wait, I thought everyone before Braun had it wrong. I thought that was the whole premise of electing the world's greatest businessman. I thought everything had to change. I thought business as usual. I thought Holcomb Incorporated screwed everything up. It turns out the world's greatest businessman is running his office exactly the same way Holcomb and Pence and Daniels did before him. Okay, so let's give some actual examples here of what I'm talking about. Griffin Reed, the spokesman who we just mentioned, for instance, is paid by the Family and Social Services Administration, FSSA, the group that's supposed to help children, the people that are supposed to help the disabled, the severely disabled, the elderly who can't take care of themselves. Oh, no. Their money's going to pay Griffin Reed. Because when you think of helping the disabled and small children and the elderly, don't you think Braun spokesman Griffin Reed? He's also paid along with the Health and Family Services, along with Health and Family Services Secretary Gloria Sokdev. So you've got two people who are reporting directly to Braun who are paid for by the FSSA. But hey, we got to cut the rate at which we reimburse the parents, the brothers, the sisters who take care of their severely disabled loved ones because there's no money for that. But plenty of money for Griffin Reed. The Bureau of Motor Vehicles pays Ava Hasel, an executive chief of staff, an executive assistant to Chief of Staff Josh Kelly, and spokeswoman Megan Schmaltz. The latter, Megan Schmaltz, earns the third highest salary in the BMV and about $20,000 more than the BMV spokesman Greg Dunn. So, the woman who is a spokeswoman, I want to get the gender right. Yeah, she'll be very offended. Spokeswoman for Josh Kelly, which if you've ever had to have a conversation with Josh Kelly, you would know why he needs a spokeswoman. Josh Kelly should never, ever talk on his own. The spokeswoman earns $20,000 more from the BMV, according to the Capitol Chronicle, than the actual spokesperson for the BMV. The Indiana Department of Transportation, meanwhile, according to the Capitol Chronicle, compensates senior policy advisor Adam Battaglio, who at $180,000 makes more than INDOT Commissioner Lindsey Quist's $175,000. So a senior policy advisor to the governor is paid more out of INDOT than the actual commissioner for INDOT. But hey, no money to fix the roads, right? Without all the tax increases. The wheel tax. Remember the wheel tax or the gas tax? Still suspended for now. But the INDOT, your tax dollars going to fix the roads, are paying more for a senior policy advisor to the governor than the actual INDOT commissioner. That's wild, isn't it? Another example. Braun is using a third of the public access counselor's $317,000 on a salary to his own deputy general counsel, Trent Bennett. Now, this is one of the biggest, most egregious ones, because the office of the public access counselor is supposed to rule on issues primarily related to state and local government if they're following the law related to transparency and openness. And as we have laid out to you, especially for you guys who are longtime listeners, even back to the old show, the public access counselor has been gutted, both in ability to do their job and the actual authority of their job over the past several years. There are only 3 employees in the public access counselor's office, and they have only put out 1 advisory opinion since January. So the state guts the ability of the public access counselor to do her job, in this case, her job, because her name is Jenny Ruby. And then of that, a third of the money is going to a deputy general counsel for the governor. So no money to help the public access counselor get opinions out to the public and actually get through serious inquiries about potential abuses of power by governments, both state and local. But there's plenty of money to pay the governor's deputy general counsel. Now, in fairness, because we're very fair here, Braun has reduced his actual budget, even though he's taking it from all sorts of other people, to $3.2 million, down from $3.39 million before that. Now, let's not act like $139,000 when you're talking about a $44 billion plus biennial budget is some sort of like massive austerity plan. But if we're being fair, which we always strive to be, Braun technically does have a lower budget than his predecessor. Although I would think it would be pretty hard to ever not have a lower budget on anything than Holcomb. And look, is this the world's biggest story? No. But is it a great insight into how government actually works? Is it a great insight into how the government plays? I don't know, fast and loose is the best description, but takes liberties with how they operate because of how they want you to believe they're operating in an efficient or not so efficient manner? And is it primarily a great example of how hard it is for any normal person to keep track of what's going on with their government? I think that's the biggest takeaway. Because I read this article, and I think you would say few people are more attuned or more live in this world than I do. And I read this article, and I was like, dang, that took a lot of time, and that took a lot of effort to put together. There's no way any regular person, there's no way any probably seeming individual other than somebody being paid expressly to do that, like the Capitol Chronicle does, would ever be able to put that together. And that's not good. Government should be very simple. And by the way, again, we're honest here. Indiana actually does have a more transparent government than many other states. I mean, the fact that the Capitol Chronicle could even put all of that together, many states you would not be able to do that. But you should be able to say, you work for me, I'm a taxpayer, you're an employee, you are paid X amount, which you can do. That is pretty easy to do, to look up people on the state portal. But then I know my money, the money that's paying you, our money, is coming from fill in the blank. And I think it's pretty interesting that some of these agencies where we are repeatedly told there's no money for them or there's no money without tax increases, that you got a bunch of money filtering out of those agencies to the governor's office. There's enough money to pay the governor's employees, the governor's workers, but no money to either actually do the actual thing, or there's no money without the tax increases, and then you get the never-ending tax increases. So do with that what you will. Hey, guys, it's Friday. That means double D's. It's Thursday. Damn, it felt like a Friday, didn't it? I think it's because it's the last day of the week. It's a Thursday. That's right. Yes, it's Thursday. By the way, I love May May, who runs our the daycare our daughter attends. She wanted to make sure everybody knew she's closed tomorrow. She sent one text message about being closed in a very nice fashion, and then after that, a differently worded text message, again very nice, reminding everyone, don't plan on leaving your kid with me. I'm out of here. You can just say, we're closed. I get it. You got to take some days off. But it's Thursday, and that means it's loaded baked potato day at Double D's Barbecue. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. They take their barbecue very serious. And man, I'll tell you what, our boy C Mills, famed YouTube chatter, C Mills, went yesterday. He took a picture of it. He got the wings, because it was wing day at Wednesday is wing day at Double D's Barbecue, and mac and cheese and a drink. And he was like, these wings are amazing. He goes, I'm a bit of a wing connoisseur. And he's like, these wings are outstanding. Yeah. And he was like, the price. He's like, you can't beat the price for these wings either. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, a little bit of a drive, totally worth the trip. You can just get on 40, right there, 4039. Double D's Barbecue, Memphis, authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue, ribs, brisket, and more. It's Thursday. It's loaded baked potato day. You guys got to check it out. I know every single one of you have been out there have said the food is amazing, the service is outstanding, and the atmosphere is to die for because Tina, one of the owners, she worked at Graceland, and she is a massive Elvis fan. So the whole decor, it's all Elvis, baby. Yeah, that's right. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, ribs, brisket, and more. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. All right, I got a bit of bad news, but we called it, so nobody should be surprised. But it is now time where we've got to put our antennas back up. Abdul put out a cheat sheet yesterday. And for those of you who don't know, Abdul, of course, Indy Politics is his website. Lots of great stories over there related to Indiana politics and government. And then he has a pay service. It's what's he call it? Rumor, gossip, and innuendo. You pay a fee, and every so often, I think it's usually weekly, he'll send you out a couple of pages of here's the stuff I'm hearing around the Statehouse that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And yesterday he put out a cheat sheet, and it's about the Mid-States Corridor is coming back. Maybe. The Mid-States Corridor. Of course, for those of you who are new, most of you probably know, the Mid-States Corridor is this boneheaded plan to spend billions of taxpayer dollars to build a road to connect 64 and 69 in southern Indiana that most of the people down there absolutely do not want. And there have been massive objections to this, and you would be saying, well, Rob, why would the government be spending billions of dollars to build a road at a time where finances are very thin across the board if the people down there don't want it? Well, your guess is as good as mine, but it could be. It could be because the governor and the governor's family are documented as saying, hey, it would really help our business. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm just saying it could be a reason. And so there has been a bunch of controversy about this plan to build the Mid-States Corridor to connect 64 and 69. It was on track to go right through. One little pesky radio show dug into it. The lawmakers, who freely then admitted they basically had no idea it was going on. I mean, think about that. You got a plan to spend billions of dollars, and the lawmakers are like, what? Well, Mid-States Corridor? What are you talking about? And then the radio show. Whose show was that? Who did that? Oh, that was our show. We sent Jason down for a day. He interviewed a bunch of people. It was great. And that show exposed the Mid-States Corridor. And then the government stepped in and basically was like, what are we doing? And then put a bunch of parameters around having to get the Mid-States Corridor approved through the state and a bunch of guardrails. And basically, for the time being, the project was kind of declared dead. Now, that was back in the winter. And we said at the time, hey, we're very excited that the project was stopped for now. But nobody should be naive that the thing is over. It's coming back. Braun desperately wants this road to be built. They're going to do everything in their power to try to build the road. Which brings me to Abdul's cheat sheet yesterday. Here's what Abdul wrote. I want to make sure I'm going to read it verbatim. A lot of times I don't do this, but, you know, since it kind of is rumor, gossip, and innuendo, I want everybody to know these are the words of one Abdul Hakim Shabazz. Don't blame me. If it's untrue, take it up with Abdul. Abdul writes, quote, the corridor is a $3.4 billion project with the state's share pegged at around $250 million and federal dollars covering the rest. Under the oversight law passed last session, big projects like this get budget committee review. But word is that the review only trips if the state money is spent. So the thinking goes, if private backers raise enough to bond the state's share themselves, Indiana technically spends $0, the budget committee never sees a project, and the federal billions flow in anyway. So basically, what Abdul is alleging may be going on, that he's hearing, is that some, and by the way, if you want to know who some of these people could potentially be, if indeed Abdul's reporting is accurate, we had Jason McCoy on, a month and a half ago from the Property Rights Alliance. He laid out some of who the big-time backers and supporters are of this project in Southwest Indiana. Doesn't mean these are some of the people that Abdul might be referencing, but if you maybe want to get an insight into the background on the project and how the locals have been fighting back and some names that get named down there, people that are allegedly in support of this, that interview with Jason McCoy might tell you a thing or two about that. What Abdul is alleging is that some very powerful people who desperately want the road, who, might also potentially want to curry some favor with the governor for other reasons, are saying, well, okay, state, we see you put some parameters up around us, but all those parameters involve spending state money. Screw it. We're rich. What if we just fund the thing ourselves? Now, again, you might say to yourself, why would any person possibly spend their own money to fund a road that is seemingly for the public? Well, that's a question you have to ask yourself. Abdul goes on to write, we hear supporters have already raised north of $10 million. And we're told the deepest pocket employers along the route could handle the rest without breaking a sweat. 200, that public school math tells me that'd be $240 million without breaking a sweat. Then it gets even more ridiculous. Here's what Abdul writes. Even with the financing solved, now listen to this. Even with the financing solved, somebody still has to acquire the land. An eminent domain for a state highway corridor runs through INDOT, not the legislature, which means the entire project could get built without a single member of the General Assembly ever casting a vote. Think about that. These people, according to Abdul, want this project so bad that, according to Abdul, they have now spent, the past several months figuring out, all right, how do we get around the General Assembly? How do we get around the government? And because INDOT is controlled by who? The governor. They're like, these guys got to acquire the land anyway. We'll give them the money. They can do all the land. They call it acquisition. I'm going to use the word like strong arming because we've laid out eyewitness accounts from people like Jason McCoy about how some of this is being handled down there. Jason interviewed numerous people who were talking about how these state workers just showed up on their land doing surveying. They objected. They took them to court. The attorney general representing the state, Todd Rokita, man of the people. And then, when we bring Jason in for the YouTube chat later, I'll ask him to remind me about all this. But I believe the judge told the state, yeah, you got to follow the law. And then the state was just kind of like, we already done it anyway. So according to Abdul, these backers are like, well, we'll just raise the money. It's no problem. INDOT's got to go in and get the land anyway. That's under Braun. I'm sure they'll be very friendly. Problem solved. No need for the government to have a say in anything. Abdul closes his piece by saying this. If the plan is to run private money through INDOT to pay for condemning Hoosier farmland, well, that's the kind of novel agreement that ends up with a published appellate opinion attached to it. Look, who knows if this is actually accurate? And if it's wrong, take it up with Abdul. And by the way, the cheat sheet available for subscription. Just head over to indypolitics.org if you want to read other fabulous pieces just like this. Look, Abdul sometimes gets things wrong. Sometimes, right? He's not always accurate. But it's pretty rare. It does happen occasionally, but it's pretty rare. There's not at least some level of truth to stuff that he puts out, including stuff in the cheat sheet. It does happen, but it's rare. And if this one's wrong, it's all on him. And I'm sure he'd be happy to have the conversation with any state government agency that would like to object to it. But having dealt with or covered the people who have had to deal with this over the past several years, if this indeed turned out to be true, none of it would surprise me in the least. None of it would surprise me in the least. Think about conceptually, you could end up with a $4 billion road being built, and the state legislature, who has already stepped in to put guardrails around it, might not end up having a say at all. That's pretty wild, but it kind of seems on par for the Indiana Republican Party. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Interesting piece from Abdul. Hey, guys, if you're looking for a weekend away, check out our friends at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. You know, we talk all the time about their dinner on Friday and Saturday, their brunch buffet on Sunday. By the way, Bistro closed on Friday and Saturday as well this week. They're doing a bunch of stuff in the greater Brazil area, in the greater Clay County area for 4th of July festivities because they have a great catering business. If you're looking to cater your event, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro would be outstanding. But the Cottage, it's located right next to the bistro. It's on the water in beautiful Brazil. It's a great opportunity for you to get a weekend away, peaceful, quiet, relax. The Cottage is awesome. It's got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Andy, the owner, who did our fabulous sign for the Rob Kendall show. Boy, that sign looks great. He delivers your breakfast if you stay at the Cottage in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Look, if you've never been out to that property, it is amazing. It's the perfect weekend away. Get a great meal in the process. Explore a lot of rural area out there. It'd be a great opportunity for you. See the Cottage for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. See it all for yourself. Make your reservations today. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, located on the water in beautiful Brazil. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, one of the biggest questions in all of Indiana politics and government, will the left rally behind Bayh? Lots of huffing and puffing. Oh, he's too moderate. Oh, he's liked by too many Republicans. He's taking money from Trump people. We're out. Let's find out. Look, I think the best person to ask is the woman who ran against Bayh not all that long ago and got a huge portion of the Democrat Party, the left flank of the Democrat Party, to vote for her, Blythe Potter. Let's find out what she's doing. Interesting conversation when we come back. Take a break. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. There's a lot of big questions for election season this fall. I think one of the biggest and one of the ones I'm most interested in is, will the left support Bayh? Because I think there's zero chance, if he doesn't get all the Democrats, that he's going to win. Let's find out from the woman who ran against him, the new queen of the left in Indiana, Blythe Potter. Hello.
Hi, good to see you.
Okay, so I got to say this first.
Yeah.
So you came to our live show.
Yeah, on
and,
Friday.
Your mom was there.
My mom loves you so much.
And you told me this. We talked about this before. I said during the live show, I singled you out. I said, your family dynamic has to be fascinating.
Dude,
that you and your mom, who have this great relationship, she's super conservative, you're very left. How does that work?
It's been Well, interestingly, it's not uncommon. If you really talk to people, this is a pretty typical dynamic the last decade or so. We have so much in common, but the few things that we disagree on are, big
Do
disagreements.
you just not talk politics?
We try not to, which is really interesting but I think it's also one of those, we were talking about generations. It's one of those generational things. Like you don't talk money, religion, politics. And I'm like in it, right?
Were you always in it?
No, I wanted nothing. I have been many times said there's no chance I would get involved in politics. But
when did you start getting interested in it?
In 2023.
So this is recent.
It's pretty recent.
Yeah.
So my daughter was 2. How old is she was 3. And I used to
age all the time. Dude, don't worry about it.
I don't even know how old I am. But I would walk her to daycare.
Yeah.
And it's like an 8-minute walk. But I would go to a sidewalk that ended, where they just end in Indiana.
Right.
I'd have to cross 2 lanes of Interstate Road 144 to get to the trail, go less than a quarter mile, and then cross back over. No crosswalks,
right?
No sidewalks on that last half. And I'm like, this is one of the fastest growing towns in the state. Why are there not sidewalks? And interestingly, at the time I'd gotten accepted to go back to school. I was going to get my PhD and I was going to figure out how to we're going to fix these communities, right? We're going to do this.
Good luck. When you figure it out, let me know.
You will, right? And then it was really expensive and my post 9/11 GI Bill was up and I was like, okay. So the local Democratic Party chair, Amanda Stevenson Holmes, which I had no clue Johnson County had a Democratic Party, posted in a Nasty Women's group, said, hey, we've got some spots on the ballot this fall. And I was like, that is how we change the county and the city or the town that we're in, because they are the ones who decide where sidewalks go. So totally ignorant, no clue what I was doing. Okay. I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run for town council against 3 Republican incumbents, like really entrenched in the town.
Right.
I'm now blacklisted from everything.
Oh, yeah.
But
hey, welcome to the club.
Right. But I gave them a run for their money. They were calling people at 5:55 p.m. to get them to come vote.
Yeah, that's great.
And over the last 3 years, my platform has suddenly come to fruition.
Here's the thing I've said about you to people. You're very pleasant.
No, thanks.
And a lot of people on the left sometimes, we played some audio the last few days, are not nearly as pleasant as you are about the way they handle things. Have you talked with people about that? Because sometimes the left people, they really alienate people quick with the people screaming at the guy in San Francisco. Like, how do you, I don't know if mentor's the right word, but you got to get people to be more like you.
Well, I try to. That's where I get my career gets thrown at me a lot because like, oh, you just own a spot. I do a lot more than that. Like I do body work and I've done it for over 20 years. So for 20 years in red, rural, Republican, Johnson County, I've had people from every background complaining about the same things. Right? Doesn't matter what their politics are. Right. They're all mad about the same thing. So we are all pretty much alike. We just express that differently. And then with my yoga training, part of that was nonviolent communication. And same with my master's. There's a lot of communication. And
you have a military background.
I do.
Are there a lot of people, where do most military people come down? Or is there a come down for military people? It was
interestingly, part of that training really helped me like reintegrate. So I got home in 2006 and it was more just like, good luck to you. I was there, there were roads that had been widened in places, right? And I knew we shouldn't have been there. There were some situations there that I still to this day, like would bring me to tears if we talked about. And so it was really took about a decade, and sorry for my husband and stepdaughters for being part of that, to really be able to mentally address that and to be able to talk about it. But in that process of not being the kindest communicator, I've learned to do that. So I just
are most military people, are they political? Are they conservative, liberal? Is it like, what was your experience with that?
I think the assumption is most people are conservative.
I agree.
But the Department of Defense is like the largest socialist program we have.
Yeah.
Except for the billionaire write-offs, right? Their tax write-offs. So it's like everything else. We have a very conflicting view of what things are called. And having that term social anything has been weaponized for decades.
Okay, so you ran for Secretary of State. Yep. I think you exceeded all expectations of where you started at. And I say that as a compliment,
Thank
right?
you.
I think people said, oh, this wacky left woman, she's, not going to raise any money. She's running against a Bayh, hey, he'll get 90% of the vote. You ended up with 39% of the vote, which is really good. I think if you'd been running against anybody other than a Bayh, you might have actually won the convention.
Yeah.
What did you learn from your, half a year or more that you spent campaigning? When you look back now, like what are some of the takeaways from that?
We are having, we have a communication problem, and it's not just Democrats. I think people in general, we don't know how to talk about what we're experiencing or feeling with all of this. And we definitely there is definitely a solid division in the party, but it's not as old establishment. And I say that not to be derogatory or mean, but the people who've kept this party afloat for 50 years.
Right.
It's hard to change.
Right.
And organizations, which I've studied organizational leadership, I've been involved in it. It's not something that happens quickly. But there is a lot of momentum for change. There are a lot more people who agree with me than don't. I think I would have gotten a lot more votes had there not been some behind the scenes manipulation going on. But almost 40% is nothing to laugh about.
No. And we said this on the air. And look, Bo came in last week, and I like Bo. He's a nice guy, but he's like, "Hey, it's a great victory." I said,
it's really not.
I think anything less than 70 was kind of a defeat. I think it was a huge victory for you, you actually did.
Yeah, they had to work for it. I literally gave them a run for their money.
Do you think it was because I did, in this case, I being you, did so well? He's got a lot of room for improvement. Why do you think you were able, or hey, the party's just changed to the point now where, hey, 40% are kind of sick of the status quo?
Yeah. I think more than 40% are sick of the status quo, but I think a lot of people are very afraid of what will happen in November.
Yeah.
So trying something new, which me being new, they haven't tried a campaign like that.
Right.
But what's different is I've been here for 44 years, and I have been seeing on the periphery, on the local level and the state level, just being involved, what people are saying, whether they be involved or not, and what people want out of candidates. And both sides want just someone who knows what the they're doing and cares about people.
You had a very non-extreme campaign for somebody they painted as an extreme person. I thought when we interviewed you, you said, hey, voter ID is fine. Don't touch it. Can the left moderate itself the way you've moderated yourself? And you said this when we interviewed you while you were running. You said, look, it's a sort of a non-political position, right? It's an administrative position, which has always been my argument. But it seems like the left struggles with some self-control issues sometimes. Can you guys start to moderate yourselves to get more people like you who can come off as electable to people?
Yeah, I think we can. And I think there's more of us than not. I think there's more money behind those of us who aren't, and that is always going to be the problem until we can lower the barrier to entry.
You need some rich people.
We do.
Because you're winning in New York.
Yeah.
You're not winning in Indiana.
Hey, I found a unicorn in southern Indiana. So, Kathleen, if you're watching, thank you.
You did. So you did. Okay, so you did find somebody who was a sizable donor.
Oh, yeah.
And you were honest about it. You were like, yeah, it's not my ideal thing, but, hey, I got to have some money. Mm-hmm. What was your sales pitch to her? Because she was a bakery heiress or something, right?
Yeah. It's her niece, Laura, and I met. I run an organization called Bitches Get Stuff Done. Hoosier Bitches Get Stuff Done. I know we didn't talk about it much because it's like a big no-no on certain people. So, and Laura and I kind of met through that, and there's this coalition of people across the state that we've been organizing with basically for since late 2024. But I went to Warwick County for a dinner. She introduced me to her aunt, who happened to be Kathleen.
Yeah.
And she's like, anything you need, you just let me know. And my team was like, we got to call her and ask her for a donation. I can't do that. Like, I cannot call someone and say, can you give me 10,000?
Was that hard for you to ask?
Oh, I nearly puked.
Oh, you got to learn how to do that again.
What? I know. I've gotten better at it. I'm learning along the way.
We ask people for money every day.
Oh my God, it's so hard. I know, and you say it so easily, and I'm watching you like, how do these people say this? So like,
no, wait a second. I want to be clear. Our press is not the politician press.
No,
we have nothing to offer people other than entertainment.
I don't know, Rob.
You got to
disagree.
You got to be able to because we believe in ourselves here, right? We know we take that money and we make the most out of it. Clearly, look at the life we live. You're in the studio. You can see it. We're very frugal. But so that's something that you were nervous about, was asking people for money.
Oh, absolutely. It's
you're a wrong professional.
Right? And that's why people don't get involved in politics. But I I have a stable career. I have a stable family life. I have a lot of support. If I lose, it doesn't do anything to my life but give me more time to hang out with you.
Yeah, that's right. And I told you, I said, now you can be a pundit because once you're not running for anything, you can always come back and you can criticize others. That's why I got out of politics and into media. It's way more fun. Okay. So Jesse Braun, who I think you know.
Yes.
Member of the city county council. He was on with us Monday. He said, I'm not voting for Bayh. He laid out his reasons. And my thing is, I said, look, y'all ain't won nothing in a decade and a half. This guy may not be everybody's cup of tea. He's going to give you 50% of what you want. You probably can't get elected running like you, Jesse, for statewide office. Why don't you take the 50? He seemed pretty adamant. I'm not taking the 50. You've taken a different approach to this. You're on board. Why?
This is not something I talk about easily. A lot of people, and this is no shade to Bo or anyone else. A lot of people don't vote because they're tired of picking the lesser of what they consider the evils, right? So now we can either not vote. We can do a write-in, which is both are a waste of time. Vote Libertarian. We've got Ballard. We've got Mac. I call him Maxine.
Oh, no, his name's Max.
I call him Maxine.
Yeah, Max England.
Just a jerk.
Yes.
And then Bo. So we have 6 options.
Right.
None of them are like, yes, let's go do this.
Right.
However, I'm going to say that with an asterisk. Bo is doing exactly what he is expected to do. He's running the exact campaign that a Democratic Party would say, this is how you win.
Right.
Even though it hasn't worked for 20 years. But Bo is also a blank slate.
Right.
He has the opportunity to prove us wrong. He has the opportunity to take this money that we're mad about, not use it against us, to get a win, get us inspectors that are Democrats in county level, to get our literally foot in the door with the name and the money and the beautiful jawline, which, by the way, my face is not bad. Y'all talk about his jawline. I mean, for 44 and no facelift, we're doing okay. But I think he presents an opportunity to evolve the party and hopefully do it in a way that doesn't piss everybody off.
Yeah. Do you think the growth of the left, because clearly you guys are taking over the party, right?
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, not I'm as pleasant as you or Jesse, but is the growth of the left, is it just a Democrat thing, or are there more people, period, are becoming open to more leftist progressive policies?
I think a little bit of all of that. So I actually don't love partisan politics. If it were up to me, there would be a base level standard of this is what a human right is. I don't care what you call yourself. You don't mess with human rights.
Right.
Food, shelter, education, healthcare. Like you were talking, we were in the sandwich generation when my father-in-law died recently. Yeah. Being caretakers should not be something that kills us, literally.
And we've seen that in this state where they've punished the parents who take care of their kids with severe disabilities, like our super friend Michael.
Yeah. So, but we need to find a way to have that conversation that doesn't scare people, because we can actually spend less in taxes for you and I if we just tax the ultra rich well enough.
Well, because when we played the video of the guy getting screamed at in San Francisco, there's going to be a whole bunch of people even in the middle who are like, nope, no thank you, because I'm not lining up with that. So you got to get control of those people. Will most Democrats be like you and say what you've said, which is pretty measured? Hey, Bayh's maybe not my cup of tea. He gives us opportunities we don't have other places. Let's just go ahead and vote for him. Or are they going to be the Jessies who are like, no, I'm taking a stand?
I hope so. And I tell people too, and they don't like this, we still have 4 months. Jesse has 4 months to change his mind. Maybe I can change Jesse's mind.
Right. Are you going to try?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we talk quite a bit. We're in a few group threads together.
Because I think Braun is naive. Like, I don't think Braun is San Francisco guy. I think Braun has a vision of like the whole world can be Sweden or something.
Well,
and that's
I mean,
what he thinks it is.
We could get to that, whatever that looks like for America. But I think if you look at the party values, most people can get online with that. It's basically take care of the environment, don't kill your neighbor, don't be a dick. And, while I don't love to say I am solidly, like, I'm not a ride or die Democrat. I'm not a vote blue no matter who.
Right.
But this year, we are in a very unique situation where we don't really have other options other than voting in Democrats. And we are getting to the point where Democrats are holding Democrats accountable.
That's good. I wish the Republicans would do that.
Well, I think they're starting to, Rob. Yeah. I really do. It's just maybe a little slower.
Okay, your shirt. I do like the shirt. What does it say? Tell everybody.
Buck off Braun.
Yeah, I like that. Is there like a meaning to it, or something else?
Braun is a douchebag, and I do not like him.
That's very hard to argue.
And you can't get a lot of people to print off, but
all right. Okay, a couple things before I let you go. Mm-hmm. Is there anything when you look back at your campaign and you say, man, if I'd have just done this differently, I might have been able to win? Or are you just like, hey, I did the best I could. We exceeded expectations. It went as good as it could go.
Not necessarily. I mean,
I think
there's always what ifs.
You're an insurgent candidate, whether it's Republicans or Democrats. I think you have a good perspective on to offer on that.
Yeah, but as a small business owner, I just treated it like I was marketing a small business.
Yeah.
And an idea, which is what we did. So we will keep doing this. I will run for something again. I don't know what that looks like.
And your husband's running for something.
He is. He's running for House District 47. So I'm going to help get him elected. There are several candidates.
Where is that?
Most of Johnson and Shelbyville. If you ever see someone running around in a duck costume, it is him because it's been gerrymandered. I actually brought you a sticker that has his district on there, and I left it in the other car.
Oh, that's horrible.
But it's shaped like a duck.
Oh,
literally shaped like a duck.
Oh, the district is shaped like a duck. Oh, I get it. I thought maybe just like ran around in a duck.
No, he just got really lucky with marketing.
Oh, I got you. Okay. 2 things I have to ask you about.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from a lot of people that were kind of moderate Democrats, you speaking at the No Kings thing, and they weren't happy with that. Do you regret speaking at the No Kings thing?
I don't. And a lot of people are mad about the flag upside down. And as a veteran, I didn't make that decision easily, and I knew it would be controversial, but the upside down American flag means the country is in distress. We are in distress. And I don't care what level you think of on, we have a lot of problems.
Do you think that hurt you with some delegates that you spoke at No Kings?
Maybe. I honestly don't care because we need to be having these conversations and speaking up and saying these things.
All right, the last one, and it'll get her to watch, so I think it'll be fun. You let Wells introduce you at the convention.
Yeah.
What were you doing with that?
People love to give her shit, and people do that a lot with women. And
well, it's not because she's a woman.
Well,
I just think she's got some issues.
But
I pick on men all the time.
A lot of what she says isn't wrong. A lot of people don't like her delivery, which I get. She's still in the military. Speaking like you're in the military in the civilian world is really hard. But she is very intelligent. She's one of the few people who, especially toward the end, was still willing to vocally have my back. And regardless of what people think of her, she still wants a lot of really great things for Indiana. It just may look different. So
you're loyal. I like that about you. Yeah. And I'm going to name you the official left correspondent of the Rob Kendall Show. So anytime we need someone to give us the left view, you are in.
I'm on it.
Blythe Potter, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's
yeah,
good
absolutely.
To see you again.
We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Is the inside of your house a total mess? Like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on The Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Welcome back, guys. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. We got a big segment coming up for you guys. Here just a little bit. Braun. God, whoever lets Braun do interviews, how that person still has a job is beyond me. They got to Biden Braun. Stick him in a basement. Don't let him talk. Tell everybody grandpa's busy. Put the lid on at 4 p.m. Because like every time I watch Braun do an interview, I say, who got this guy ready for this? I think the answer is no one. Braun was on with my old employer, and he got asked about the Bears, and he said something. And I used to do this all the time. I used to, like, you know how like you play along like with a you see, like I used to do this with the debates all the time, where I would if I'm watching a debate, I'd pick one of the guys to be, or I'd say I'm going to debate against them. And it's like, how would I answer this question? And so I've done this for years with media, where I'll watch somebody do an interview, and I'll be just like screaming at my television, ask him this. Of course, that did not get asked. I don't think tough on Republicans is the way of the world anymore where I used to work. But he said something that was simply unbelievable. And so I was like, we've got to play the audio of it. And then we got to address what he said about the Bears, because it was simply unbelievable. And he just said, look, these politicians do this all the time. And remember with Biden, where he would just brazenly lie about stuff, and the people would be like, how does he do that? Because they never get held accountable. These politicians say the most ridiculous stuff all the time, and they never get held accountable on it. And that's why Biden would say this stuff about like Amtrak, where it's just brazen lies. But they've lied for so long and gotten away with it that they just go, oh, why would I stop telling the truth now, even though everyone's paying attention? Because really, Biden never did get held accountable. The American people held him accountable. He went on national television and made a complete idiot out of himself, to the point they couldn't hide that he had serious mental deficiencies. And so they had to remove him, but the media never really did. And with Braun and a lot of these politicians, they say this stuff, and I think a big reason they say it is they just don't ever really get held to account on it. And now, you may hear this and go, well, it's nothing. Rob, you're totally overreacting about this. I feel like I got a pretty good handle on what's a big deal and what's not. And so he got asked about the Bears, and he said some stuff about the Bears. And then it comes on, after that, the Star had an article this morning about the people in Porter County blowing a gasket on the tax increases that the state wants them to pass to fund the Bears. So it was like perfect timing. So we'll play all that here in a moment. But first, because we had Blythe Potter on, and one of the things we've kind of had as a reoccurring theme this week is about how the socialists are taking over the Democrat Party. Not like they're gaining influence, not like they're expanding their reach, they're taking over. And they're starting to win outside of brazenly liberal hubs. Like, hey, they win in California. Hey, they win in New York. All right, fine, whatever. Now you're seeing them win in Utah, which is a Republican state. Now, I get, just like Indiana's a Republican state, there are liberal meccas. There are liberal homes, Indianapolis being one of them. But they're starting to win in Utah. Utah, again, Republican state. And people better wake up to this, because it's spreading, and it is becoming the Democrat Party. And it's a real challenge that the Democrats are going to have to figure out, because, look, they'll continue to dominate in these liberal areas. They may continue to win primaries in non-liberal areas. But I don't know in the near future. Now, ultimately, if they're playing a long game, they'll get it eventually. But I don't know in the immediate future how they come to power. And what's going to be interesting, and we'll talk about this later, was this New York Times poll that came out about the Senate races. And one of the things we've talked about on this show is the Democrats have offered so little vision, and they are coming off the heels of having governed so poorly under Biden, even though every tangible data point and historical point tells you the Democrats should win the House and they should win the Senate and they should clean up in the House. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I mean, Trump's numbers are garbage. They're like all-time low sphere. But the Democrats are perceived as being so bad, I'm not sure they can capitalize on it. And a part of the reason, we'll talk about these Senate numbers here in just a moment. Part of the reason that the Senate races are so close in the swing states is because people look at what's going on in these other areas and go, if that's what the Democrat Party's becoming, I hate what the Republicans are, but I can't do that. And you'll see in places like Ohio and Texas, when we talk about the polling, and Alaska, where you have bad candidates that are vulnerable and should be vulnerable, they're either tied or still winning. And that shouldn't be happening. And it really is an example of how people are in search of something. They're in search of something better, and neither side is giving it to them. And it goes back to, we talked with Blythe Potter. The reason I think socialism grows or the socialist candidates win, now they don't often, they're more and more, they are more and more, but they oftentimes don't label themselves as socialism. We'll actually talk about that here in a second, is because people aren't getting good governance from anywhere. So they go, okay, we'll give this a try. Like, we're not teaching people the historical dangers of socialism. And so they don't understand it to outright reject it and force the Democrats to be better. But then they also look at the Republicans and are like, we're not getting anything good there either. I mean, how many times have the Republicans had complete control of the government and they absolutely squander it like they've done again? I mean, you think about the past year and a half and all the opportunities that the Republicans have had and how they failed to capitalize. Bigger government, more expensive government, more government that rewards the donors and the lobbyists ahead of the people. That's what we've seen. And people look at that and go, well, if that's capitalism, that's not working for me, I guess I'll try this. And the problem is the Republicans present what they're doing as capitalism, which it's really not. It's a bastardized version. It's a crony capitalistic society. So we'll play you some more audio about the socialists and how the Democrats are leaning into the socialists and how they're taking over the party before we get to the audio on Braun. But first, do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Is your HOA not allowing a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers, freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence is locally owned. They can do the job at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. They're pay more attention to you than the big guys because they're locally owned. The owners, by the way, their name are Kelly and Jeff. They got 3 dogs themselves. They so believed in the product, they bought the business. And now they serve people all throughout central Indiana. Shop local. If you need an invisible fence for your dog or you're thinking about a better way to keep your dog on the perimeter and not have to worry about them, All-American Dog Fence could be the answer for you. They back their Pet Stop products, design and manufacture right here in the USA with a lifetime warranty. I know they said they got a call from one of you guys the other day, and they said, yeah, the guy had one of the big guys. They couldn't get a response. They couldn't get an answer. They're coming to us. That's what they do. They pride themselves. All-American Dog Fence right here in central Indiana prides themselves on their customer service. Call or text All-American Dog Fence 317-862-6606, 317-862-6606, or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. allamericandogfence.com. And by the way, when you mention the Rob Kendall Show, you get $200 off. $200 off just for mentioning the Rob Kendall Show. Okay, so the socialist. There was another winner out in Colorado, the other day. And her name is Malat Quiros. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. She won a primary in Colorado for Congress. I believe beat an incumbent congressperson. And she went on CNN. Now, one of the things you'll notice here, guys, with this audio is the host was very careful not to use the term socialist. But the host essentially asks this woman, Quiros, if the socialists are taking over the Democrat Party. She said yes. Take a listen.
So your win, of course, comes just a week after 2 other Democratic socialists endorsed by Mayor Zohran Mamdani won House primaries in New York City. Politics are local. Do you see evidence, though, on a broader national scale that progressive voices are, in fact, gaining support?
Absolutely. I think what we're seeing right now is that candidates that are actually speaking to and fighting for the kind of policies that a supermajority of voters in our party supports are winning.
Now, you notice CNN, the lady on CNN, she uses the term Democrat socialist, and then it's progressive, right? But this woman told you right there, she's one of them. They're taking over. When we say these things, we're not pulling it out of our backsides. When we tell you guys these things, it's because they're happening. All right. So, speaking of Colorado, they have 2 Democrat senators. One of them is John Hickenlooper. He was also on CNN. He gets asked directly if he has any concerns about the lunatics taking over the party. And notice here, guys, just like this audio we played over the last couple of days, and this is why the lunatics are going to win. This establishment guy, he doesn't want any part of answering the question. He doesn't want any part of pushing back. He is petrified of these people. Take a listen.
Do you have any concerns that some of these DSA candidates who have views that are more controversial like this might actually hurt your party, even while they are also bringing energy and enthusiasm?
Yeah, and again, you and almost everyone I talked to today really wants to talk about what are the differences, and are we okay with the differences? I'll tell you what we are united about. We are united that we all have to work to make sure we win the Senate back in November. We've got to win back, and we're united to win back the House, and we're united to win back and push back against the White House.
You heard it. He's all about just that, the winning, right? You have people who are blatant about it. Now, look, the Democrats have had that movement towards socialism for a long time, but they've always been pretty good in the past, and but especially post-Obama, it's become more and more open about saying what they actually believe. Usually, previous years, previous times, hey, don't say it out loud. Whatever your views are, don't say it out loud. These people are open. They essentially believe in the complete government takeover of society. And this guy, Hickenlooper, is like, sure, come on in. We'll all work together. No. There is no working together. When you believe with the complete takeover of government in society, there is no working with that. And he is telling you, a United States senator from what, now, I don't think Colorado really is a swing state anymore, but it's certainly not like a deep blue state, is saying, hey, these are our peeps. We love them. They're awesome. Glad she won. Come on into the party. When these people talk, you should listen. When these people speak, you should hear what they have to say because they're telling you what they believe. Another example of this, Roberto Garcia. He's a congressman, also on CNN. And he, just like even a little more brazen than Hickenlooper, said the socialists, they're totally welcome in the Democrat Party. Take a listen.
What's going on inside the Democratic Party? Should Democrats be bracing for a wholesale takeover from the outside the way Republicans dealt with when President Trump was elected in 2016?
I think that Democrats have to always have a big tent and welcome all parts of our party. And at the end of the day, Diana DeGette, who I know, a great congresswoman, I honor her service, but the voters elected someone new. And that person has the support of the voters in Denver, and we're going to welcome her and ensure that she has the resources that she needs to be successful in November and be an important part of our caucus. Folks that win primaries because of their voters, Democratic primaries, are a part of our party, and they're going to be welcomed into the Congress and our caucus. And our focus is going to be to take on Donald Trump and ensure that we focus on affordability for the American public.
That guy views Trump as a bigger threat. You heard him. Because he's like, hey, it's fine the socialist woman won. We got to get her on the team so we can take on Trump. That guy views Trump as a bigger threat to society, to the American way of life, than the woman who's like, take it all over. Any of these people. That guy views Trump as a bigger threat to society than those people we played for you in San Francisco screaming at the left guy because he had some statement they didn't like about Israel and Gaza. They're telling you who they are. You need to listen to them. The problem is the Republicans, as they always do, aren't offering people a better way of life. Most people are not as into it as you and I. I always say this about elections to people. You have to understand, to a person running for public office or ballot questions like referendums, I always say most people are not into it as us. And you have to speak a language And you have to make a presentation that is comfortable to people where they're at. Most people in politics don't really get that, or people who want to be in politics, who are running campaigns, they struggle to understand that. Politics is a sales pitch. It's no different than selling a product. You know, I had a conversation yesterday with someone who is considering coming on board as an advertiser on our program. And you know, when I have these conversations, by the way, if you'd like to, I'd love to meet you. If you have a business, if you own a business, if you run a business, if you know the people who run businesses where you work, we do pretty good for our advertisers. You can ask them. And we work pretty hard for you. And we can charge you a fraction of where a lot of other places can charge you to get a very loyal audience. Love to meet you. Send me an email. sales@robkendallshow.com. sales@robkendallshow.com. And so I was talking to somebody yesterday that's considering coming on board with us. They like what we do. And one of the first things I always try to ask people is, tell me about what you do. What is it you say that you do here? And then tell me what your clientele looks like. Tell me about the people that you're trying to reach. Tell me who your prospective people are. And tell me what you need to do, what targets you need to hit to make your advertising with us worthwhile. There's lots of people, and it's happened over many times over the past several months. And people are always flooded when I do this. I just say to them, I say, look, you're a fan of our show. You know about this show because you listen, and you've listened to me for years. You're putting your trust in me. I'm not sure I can get the business for you to make your advertising worthwhile. And I've lost business before with that. But you know what it does? It builds trust. And people say, oh, thanks. And then somebody will say, oh, but I do have so-and-so that I think probably would be good for you. And they've sent them over. The point is, you have to, in any sales pitch, speak the language and meet the person where they are. You have to identify what works for them and figure out how you can make that worthwhile. The Republicans are not doing that. The Republicans are going, look at what we've done. Isn't it great? How could you not love what we're doing? Rather than crafting policies around the moments of the day, the causes of the day, the trials of the day that actually will produce better lives for the American people. They're not doing that. And so when you don't do that, it creates a vacuum. When you create a vacuum, somebody who's smart enough to figure out how to speak the language, even if the policies themselves don't match up with the things they're saying. Like when the Democrats talk about affordability, there's nothing they're going to do. It's going to make anything more affordable. Nothing. Zero. What they're banking on, people who are feeling the pain of the Republicans not producing results, they're going to, oh, okay. Because, of course, people don't think through it. At any point in human history, has more government made anything more affordable for the collective? Now, some people might get giveaways. It does for those people, but somebody's got to pay the tab. Trump was in North Dakota yesterday, and he's on the communism stuff. I give him credit. He's talking about it a lot. He was in North Dakota. He said the biggest threat facing our country is communism. Here is the president. Take a listen.
Seeing now communism is the greatest threat to our country, including, I believe this, you know, when I said it, I said, boy, that's pretty severe, but I think it's true. It's the biggest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, September 11th. I think it's a bigger threat, potentially a bigger threat than that, because it's like a cancer that spreads, and you better stop it fast. We will never let the United States become a communist country. Won't happen.
I don't know, man. I mean, he's right, all the stuff he's saying, but it seems like more and more people, because of a lack of understanding of history, a lack of understanding of economics, a lack of understanding about how government actually works and the inefficient, ineffective way and the manipulative way in which it actually works, the deceitful way in which it actually works. They're leaning into it, and it is growing. We're not there yet where the majority of people are that, but the majority of the Democrat Party is. I mean, we talked about polling just the other day that showed the majority of people in the Democrat Party are very receptive of socialism. Well, that's one party. And it was like 66%. I mean, within 5-10 years, it'll be 90%. Socialism is winning. It's playing a long game. Socialism, the cause itself, is always about the long game. We win in the end. That's the goal. They are true believers in the cause. And the Democrats are becoming more and more quickly a lost cause. And once they get the Democrats, then they start going for the independents, and then you're done. It's game over. All right, I want to talk about Braun here in just a second. Before we do that, though, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Braun Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Braun Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Braun Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BraunMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. Okay, so let's talk about what Braun said the other day. So he went on WIBC. He got asked about the Bears stadium. And you know, what's fascinating to me is the stuff that Braun just says out loud. And the media mostly kind of lets him get away with it. I'm saying like a media collective. I'm not just talking about WIBC here. I'm talking about like media collective. And look, I get everybody's not as passionate about the good government as I am. And I get that everybody doesn't view it like, hey, that's ridiculously offensive when you say something that is just blatantly going to do damage to taxpayers. But he does it a lot. And what he said here was fascinating because he freely admits, and you know, the narrative has changed on the Bears Stadium. Which, by the way, speaking of the Bears Stadium, our guy, Chuck Pullen from WJOB up in the region, he's going to be back with us next week. He thinks something big's going down on the Illinois side. He's got a theory something's happening or going to happen. So we'll have Chuck back next week to talk about that and what he thinks is going down over there. And look, I hope I'm right because I don't want people's taxes to go up. I don't want the financial boondoggle that we have seen with Lucas Oil Stadium, which the Star had a fascinating article, which we'll talk about after we talk about Braun here in a second, about the damage that stadiums can do, about how the people of Porter County that they're trying to get strong-armed into tax increases to fund the Bears Stadium are pushing back on. We'll talk about that here in a second. I hope it fails. I'm like Rush with Obama. I hope it fails. But the narrative has changed so much on the stadium in a short period of time because initially they were like, "Oh, what a great deal! This is going to be fabulous for the people. It's going to be great. Oh, it's going to be amazing." And blah blah blah. And then they were like, you kept pushing them about tax increases, and they didn't really want to acknowledge the tax increases were there. And then finally, and a lot of it is because the people of Porter County pushed back big time on this because Porter County's like, stadium ain't being built here. Why would we do this? Which is the same argument I've made for 20 years why I in Hendricks County pay tax increases for Lucas Oil Stadium. But because you have the actual government in this case, or a leader in the government in Porter County pushing back, it's getting a lot of attention. Finally, they had to acknowledge the tax increases are there. They didn't want to do that in the beginning. They wanted to act like it was some great deal where money was going to fall out of the sky. Now the narrative is switched to, yeah, okay, there's some tax increases, but it's going to be great. And then people were like, me and others were like, great for who? Like, why? Look, it is irrefutable that the people of Indiana across the state, either directly or indirectly, are going to have tax increases to pay for the Bears Stadium. There's no debate about it. Because they're diverting. Because initially, remember, they sold like, it's tax increases for the area. And then you start digging through the fine print. It's like, okay, yeah, there is a hotel tax up there. There are food and beverage taxes up there. There is a ticket tax up there. But then now you start getting squirrely because one of the things they're going to do with the stadium is they're going to create a special taxing district, which means that everything that goes on in that area, it's all going to stay in that area to pay for the stadium, including the income tax. So conceivably, depending on what happens, people and where they come from, people who are paying income tax to the state that benefit all of us, like we all pay state income tax, now that money's going to stay in that area. So you're not getting that. So what's not going to get done, or what are we going to have to pay more because of that? Then the big one is the roads, all that money off of the I-80 toll, potentially, and I haven't said for sure, but you don't got to be a genius to read through this, is going to be funneled to the Bears Stadium. Because this is the thing I was trying to figure out initially. Initially, they were like, and some money off I-80 could be diverted. And remember, if you guys remember, go all the way back. And I hate that Facebook and Twitter do this. Well, Facebook does. They delete your videos after like 30 days. They take them down. Facebook does. Yeah, oh, they do. They'll tell you, hey, this video's getting deleted in 30. I think there's a box you can check, maybe to I don't know. Anyway. But I was telling you guys this. I said the math is not working on the Bears Stadium, because here's what I know it's going to at least cost, and here's what they say the Bears are paying, and here's the tax increases they're talking about. The math don't add up. And then finally, they started talking about, well, maybe it'll just be more than just a little bit of the, maybe it'll be just a little bit more than a fraction. And then the state approved the people who run the tolls, the company who runs the tolls, for toll increases twice a year, with a guarantee of $700 million going back to the state. And what you start to figure out is the majority of that money is going to go to the Bears Stadium, which means it's not going to the roads, which means one of two things is going to happen. Either projects aren't going to get done, or they're going to have to raise the money somewhere else. And what do we see happening? Braun wants to raise taxes on I-70 by $6.5 billion. And it ain't going to stop at I-70. So what you've quickly realized is, as we told you from the go, and look, guys, this is why they hate me, because I think about things the way nobody else thinks about them. And we're being proven exactly right again. Everybody is going to end up paying for the Bears Stadium. Everybody's going to end up paying tax increases, whether you live in the region or not, for the Bears Stadium. So now the narrative is shifted. And you'll hear it in this answer Braun gave on IBC. Because now we've acknowledged there are tax increases. But now the new narrative is, well, it's all about vitalizing the region. And look, our state has been obsessed for 20 years now with trying to revitalize the region. Remember, we gave them casinos. Remember, that was supposed to do it. All this rail, all this other stuff that was supposed to vitalize the region. How many times have we heard, let's bring Gary back to life? It never works. And so this is their latest selling point on this, is the poor downtrodden region. And you'll hear him say it, because I think what they're finding is, yeah, I think Lake County's for it. I think everybody else is like, nah, not really. I mean, there's some cheerleaders that want it, but I think they're finding collectively it's not that popular. Because Lucas Oil Stadium, and we'll talk about this in the article the Star wrote here in a moment, it's been a financial dumpster fire. Yeah, okay. If you like the Colts, you probably love it. If you're a total homer from just I want the best for Indianapolis and I don't care what it costs, you probably love it. But the actual finances of Lucas Oil Stadium are bad, guys. They're not good. And if they couldn't make it work financially in the heart of the state, in the state capital, with a stadium that is a stone's throw from literally downtown Indianapolis, how are you going to make it work in Northwest Indiana, where there's nothing there? So now the new sales pitch is the poor people of the region. We got to vitalize the region. This is about bringing back the region. So we went from, there won't really be any tax increases, to, oh yeah, there'll be tax increases, but they're all local, to, okay, there's tax increases. Yeah, okay, other people might pay, but you should want to pay because the poor people of the region. The story keeps changing. And unfortunately, I got to be the guy to point it out. Listen to this audio of Braun talking about the Bears Stadium.
So the dynamic that's at play is exactly what happened when we brought the Colts in. You know, there were taxes that went up on things associated with having the Colts here. That's the same thing there. And the fact that that's part of it, and you're going to benefit disproportionately economically from it over time, it's got to have some kind of dynamic of a payback. Since it is something that is going to be related to a new entity and there'll be benefits from it, I view the larger picture of having an iconic franchise move to Indiana and all of the ripple effect that we know will be beneficial to a place that probably needs it more than any other part of our state. Gary, Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting, that used to be the most vital part of our Hoosier economy until steel went whooshing out of the country due to bad policies on the national level. This is a chance to have a little renaissance up there. It's starting to show signs of vitality.
Okay, so you heard it, guys, right? Now we've acknowledged there are the tax increases in his own way, because, again, don't ever let Braun stop doing those interviews. It would really mess up our show. But in his own way, because he talks himself in a circle, he acknowledges it's more than just the region. And now the sales pitches, how many times have we heard this over the past 20 years? And how much money have we spent up there? Oh, the poor people of Gary. Gary didn't go under because of steel. Gary went under because it's a cesspool of suck run by morons. Yeah, of course, when an industry leaves, it's going to take a hit. Newcastle, Muncie, whatever. But Newcastle and Muncie, they ain't Gary. I'm so sick of my money going to Gary. I'm so sick of hearing about Gary. We gave him a casino. Didn't they have 2 of them? What happened? It was a disaster. See, the narrative has moved now, guys. And for some reason he gets away with it. I don't understand why. But now we've acknowledged there are tax increases. Now we've acknowledged there are a whole bunch of them. Now we've acknowledged it's outside of just the region. And now the new sales pitch is, you got to do this for the poor people of Gary. Look, the same dumbasses are still running the show up there. This is always been one of the things that I am most perplexed about. Yeah, you're right. It's just like Iran. I'm not comparing the people of Gary to Iran, but I'm saying it's still the same people. Why would you expect a different result? One of the things that's been most perplexing to me is because you're going to hand this off, right? You're going to hand off the area to these people once the stadium is built. The state ain't going to be up there running it. Look at Indianapolis. Are you going to tell me Indianapolis is better off in 2026 than it was in 2008 or 9 when Lucas Oil Stadium opened? Are you going to tell me Indianapolis is safer? It's more fun? It's more vibrant? That's what we were sold about Lucas Oil Stadium. Indianapolis sucks. And you're dealing with Tom McDermott is the mayor of Hammond. That guy is an idiot. He ran for Senate just a couple of years ago, and we were told by the Republicans what an idiot he was. And yet, here we are, we're going to hand a multi-billion-dollar taxpayer-funded enterprise over to this guy. And then the surrounding area, Gary and all the places that he mentioned, still run by the same people. Does anybody have any belief that's going to remotely work out if they couldn't make it work out in the capital city? The Bears Stadium will be the largest act of corporate welfare in the history of our state, extracting billions, plural, over time, billions, plural, over time, giving it to an area that has been given billions, plural, over time, and they've done nothing with it. People don't want to go there. It is ludicrous to think that the Chicago Bears, who will still operate in the city of Chicago, the actual structure of the Bears, that because they're going to play 9 to 12 games a year, and it's the Bears, so don't be expecting playoff games. Trust me, as a Bears fan, I know. That you think that's going to just be the thing that's going to kickstart counties, plural. That's so disingenuous. Look, here's a great example. South Bend, Indiana. You ever been to South Bend? That place sucks. And I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. You know what's nice about South Bend? There's a hospital campus and the stuff around Notre Dame. That's it. The rest of the city, it's a dumpster fire. And good point. Who ran it? Who runs it? It's the Democrats. So you have a similar thing, right? You have this massive stadium. You have college football's a little shorter season, but 5 to 7 home games a year. You have concerts that are there. But what about the city? It sucks. The area around the stadium is nice. The hospital campus is nice. Everything else, bad. You ever want to test me? Just drive on 31. Y'all just get on 31, go past Kokomo, keep going. Come into South Bend and tell me how it looks. Or anywhere other than the immediate area around the stadium and the hospital campus. This would be no different. This would be no different. They couldn't make it work in the capital city, but you're led to believe this dumpster fire of an area that we've pumped tens of billions of dollars into over the past 20 years, and it never works out, that this will do it. At least Grandpa finally screwed up and admitted that's what this is. It's extracting money from us, corporate welfare for the Bears, to subsidize the crappy existence of the people of the region. There are some parts of the region that are nice. There are communities in the region that are nice. But he wasn't talking about them. And to try to blame it on, look, the steel industry went under 40 years ago. And why he gets away with it, I have no idea. Why every single member of the media, when he spouts this nonsensical BS, look, if Braun would just come out and say, I want the Bears because it's a great headline for us. I acknowledge that it's going to cost our taxpayers a bunch of money, but we believe the corporate subsidy is worth it for the headline. Okay, at least he's being honest about it now. But we can't even have an honest conversation because it's taken 6 months and the narrative keeps changing for us to finally start to get to the truth about what this is. It's a massive corporate subsidy based on massive tax increases that will be paid for by people across the state. And it is another example of something we have failed at for 20 plus years, which is to just throw a bunch of money and a bunch of stuff at that area up there that is always run by the same people and expect this time it's going to get better. You want to see what that stadium will be? You go to South Bend and you tell me if you think South Bend, Indiana is worth billions of dollars in tax increases to you. Now, the Star, and I didn't even intend this. I woke up this morning and read this article. I was like, oh, that's just perfect timing. Had an article about the opposition to the Bears Stadium, but for the people of Porter County. Now, remember, one of the key tenets of the Bears funding mechanism are tax increases in Lake and Porter counties. Primarily the food and beverage tax, which we got hit with here to fund Lucas Oil Stadium, the donut counties. And the people of Porter County have wisely said, no dice. What's in it for us? Yeah, Lake County's going to get the stadium. There might be something for the people of Hammond. But again, and we'll have Chuck Poland from WJOB, the voice of Hammond, up there, who is vehemently against the project, by the way. Talk about this again next week, about how I'm not sure it's actually going to work out the way people think it's going to work out, even for the people of the area. But here's what the Star wrote. If you ask Porter County Commissioner Jim Biggs, he'll tell you that hardly anyone in Northwest Indiana, or in the Northwest Indiana County, wants their tax dollars to go to a Chicago Bears stadium in neighboring Lake County. Bingo. Why would I, as a county commissioner, approve a tax increase for my people when the other county's going to get the stadium? But see, this is the problem that the state of Indiana ran into. It's the same problem they ran into with Lucas Oil Stadium. Why did we get tax increases in the donut counties? Because they ran out of money to do the stadium. They couldn't make the money work. They sold the stadium, and then they're like, oh, crap, we got to figure out how to actually fund this thing because there ain't enough money. Which is why, don't doubt me on this, 20 years later, what are we? We still owe $450 million-ish on Lucas Oil Stadium. Oh, wait. I thought this was such a financial juggernaut. 20 years later, we still owe $450 million with massive tax increases. You want to stare into the abyss of the Bears Stadium? Look at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Star then goes on to write, the ask, coming on the heels of Indiana's property tax reform effort that made counties tighten their belts, was particularly objectionable to Biggs. Quote, where was that enthusiasm and that kind of commitment from our state lawmakers when people all winter long were struggling with their energy bills? Biggs, a Republican, important to note, right? A Republican asked. Did the Speaker of the House come up here when local officials in Lake and Porter and LaPorte, all around the state of Indiana for that matter, were screaming about the property tax reform bill on what it was going to do to our budgets? Good question. And now we get to the most important part of the article. Sports stadiums are actually economic losers for the communities. Look, this has become more and more prevalent, more and more obvious over the past 10 years, which is why sports stadium referendums have failed, like the one in Missouri. There was a referendum in Missouri for the Royals and the Chiefs, Kansas City. The voters shot it down. The Chiefs said, we're moving across the border to Kansas City, Kansas. The people of Kansas City, Missouri said, kiss our ass. We don't care. We're not paying for your stuff anymore, Hunt family. Now, the Royals have taken a different approach, and it looks like they're going to get something done with the stadium, but not through it being taxpayer funded via tax referendum. It used to be the sales pitch was, if we don't do this, then we're going to lose the team. And people have kind of figured out the past 10 or 15 years, the team ain't what the team used to be. You know, it used to be, in the case of the Chicago Bears, there was a guy who owned the team, George Halas. And George Halas was Chicago. And you knew George Halas, or you felt like you knew George Halas, and you identified with George Halas, and you knew George Halas loved Chicago. You even, to some extent, felt that with his daughter when she took over the team. She was not very good at owning a team, but you felt like she really loved Chicago. With the family that's in charge now, the son and his brothers and sisters, you don't feel that at all. You do feel that he has some tie based on them to Chicago, which is why I think the Bears will stay in Illinois, to Illinois. But with all these other teams, as new owners come on board or as descendants of the owners come on board, the people look at this and go, you're just a business now. Don't sell me on this. What was the Pacers thing? It's for the city. What, they had a slogan, my city or whatever. No. You're a business. You're a multi-billion-dollar business, just like any multi-billion-dollar business, and you prey on the loyalty and emotions of people who love sports. Look, I'm a Bears fan, but I'm not naive to the fact that the Bears are a business first, just like every sports team is a business first. They don't care about anything. I'm sorry. Their top priority above all else is to make money. They may care about having a good reputation in the community, but for the most part, the money is what matters most. And people have caught on to that. And the people say now, well, if you don't actually care about me and you're willing to hold our community hostage and you're willing to leave, why would I give you all of this stuff? If you're willing to leave, you don't actually care about the city, so why would I give you some of my stuff? If the relationship is totally one-sided in which you will leave me at any given moment, why would I put my heart and soul and my finances into you? So people have started rejecting these sports stadiums, which were sold a la Lucas Oil Stadium. Oh my gosh, if we don't do this, the Colts are going to leave and go to Los Angeles. Remember, that was the thing. The Colts are going to leave and go to Los Angeles. And it was a time where the Houston Texans had just built a new stadium to get the franchise. Remember, the Houston Texans stadium was the blueprint that our state used, which is why we have that $100 million plus retractable roof that rarely ever gets used. Why did we do it? Well, because the Texans had one. Remember that. The reality of this is, and the Star gets into the article, the expert consensus around stadiums is they are almost always bad public investments. Said J.C. Bradbury, a Kennesaw State University professor who studies sports economics. Calling a stadium an economic development project is like calling cigarettes health food. Bingo. Calling a stadium an economic development project is like calling cigarettes health food. The reality is when you cut past the emotion, when you actually look at the nuts and bolts of it, these things lose money for the taxpayers. One study found, generally, the investments don't appear to be paying off. A 2017 study of economists found that 80% agreed that the economic benefits of sports stadiums don't outweigh the cost to taxpayers. And when you hear about economic development, what you're talking about is corporate subsidization. Well, economic development of the area or economic boom to the area. Yeah, if you own a bar or a restaurant around Lucas Oil Stadium, yeah, when there's a concert, yeah, when there's a football game, you clean up. But that's not all tax money. In fact, a fraction of it's tax money. Most of it's going into the pocket of the bar or restaurant owner, which I'm not mad about them. Lucky them. But that money, when we talk about the money that gets spent, it's a fraction. The tax money is a fraction of the tax money I'm putting in as a taxpayer. We don't ever want to acknowledge that. We talk about, oh my gosh, all the money that came into the city. Yeah, okay, so I subsidized. You took money from me and you gave it to someone else by force. Why would I be happy about that? Why would that appeal to me? So Biggs, the council member, or the commissioner from Porter County, said this. The reality is a bunch of elected officials got starstruck. Bingo. Stadium, ribbon cutting, groundbreaking. We're into suite at the ball game. Look at the headlines. Biggs said, according to the Star, Biggs said the idea of Porter County could get business from the deal is ridiculous, questioning why people would stop to eat in Porter County when there are plans to develop restaurants around the stadium. Yes. Yes, this guy gets it, man. This guy gets what a scam it actually is. It's a taxpayer-funded corporate subsidy. It's a taxpayer-funded private business subsidy, taking money from across the state and giving it to people of a specific area. Quote, even if you had 3 or 4 dozen people over the course of a football season stop at a restaurant coming from out of town, the benefit is negligible. Bingo. I like this guy. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle will be with us. We'll talk about all this drama with the IURC. We'll talk about Braun and his creative way of funding his office. We got a whole bunch to get to. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
It is the Rob Kendall Show. Welcome back, joined by one of the best in the business. Each week she joins us to give us the latest on all the big stories from the week that was. The great Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. Hello.
Hello.
All right, let's start with the IURC. I feel like you're one of the few journalists that understands the IURC. David Valletta, who is a commissioner, posted his resume on LinkedIn and was like, I'm looking for work. And then you were the first to report, I think that means he's leaving. Now he's announced he is leaving. What do we know?
Yeah, he finally put in, not finally, a couple days after he posted that on LinkedIn, he put an official resignation in. I think he said he wants to be out by August 30th or earlier if Governor Mike Braun gets a replacement in place. So now they're taking applications for the 5th spot. Obviously, anyone who would apply should expect a lot of pressure from Governor Mike Braun to, vote against any and all increases because he's very set on protecting the ratepayers.
We know why this Valletta guy's leaving, because he was part of the 3 that voted for the AES increase. His speech or his statement, as you guys laid out in the Capitol Chronicle, very just, hey, the staff's great, and he's looking for work. $152,000 is a pretty good amount of money. Do we read anything into that?
I mean, some people are obviously going to. He posted that LinkedIn thing only a couple hours after Braun removed Andy Zay as chair. So that you can't ignore that timing. So I think it might be that he and others are feeling maybe too much pressure. It's supposed to be an independent agency, and so maybe he doesn't like that. Also, he's been at that agency either as a commissioner or a staff member for 17 years, so he could just want something new to do.
We had Jim Merritt on Statehouse Happenings this morning. He's on the commission that'll send a nomination to the governor. And I asked him, I was like, can you just ask these guys if they'll raise rates or not? He's like, we feel like we asked pretty good the last time about what they intend to do about rates. So I don't know what else we can do. Look, I just think Braun may have some unreasonable expectations, as you and I have talked about, given what the laws of the state currently are.
Yeah, I think you get a little bit in trouble if you want someone to come out and say, absolutely under no circumstances are you to raise rates or, riders or anything like that, because there are rules that govern, this very complicated process. And if a utility provides evidence that they are allowed to recoup this cost or their return on investment, then they're legally allowed. And so even if the commission says no, then we just end up in court.
Is there any scuttlebutt you're hearing about the state changing some laws to make this easier? Because I'm with you, until they do that, I don't understand how you're going to keep the rates from going up.
Yeah, I haven't really heard anything yet. Obviously, we've got a big, long session coming up, but I feel like they're going to look at the bill they passed last year to set up multi-year rate making and some other smaller things. I feel like they're going to say, oh, we did that last year, so let's see how this goes for a bit. You also have to remember that, these are Republicans and their general philosophy, supports businesses being able to make a profit and, capitalism. And so there are some Republicans who I think just aren't ready to clamp down further than what already exists.
Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle is our guest. Okay, so Ballard turned in all his signatures. You guys had a big article about the 74,000 plus. Abdul reported as of Wednesday, he's over 39,000 verified. I'll tell you what, that's quite the little operation the former mayor turned in over 3 months.
Yeah, very interesting. It looks like we're definitely going to have a four-way race at the top of the ballot this year. I know I've seen, obviously, Greg Ballard hired a team. I mean, they had some volunteers too, but they also hired a firm who specializes in gathering signatures like this. So he's had to pay a pretty penny for that. We'll see a little more on the next, campaign finance. But someone I noted, someone had posted on social media as if that's a bad thing, and their point was, well, your process of getting on is a primary that, the taxpayers pay for, so at least he's paying his own way to get on the ballot.
Seems like they have made it harder to run for public office in recent years. I would hope maybe this campaign will open people's eyes to how hard it is, and maybe we'll get some laxed. I mean, look, we're way, way higher on signatures than our neighboring states. What are you hearing on the ground about this right now? Or are you hearing anything at all? Or are they just like, well, one got through the cracks, we'll let this guy run, and then hopefully everybody will forget?
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of groundswell. The moves they've made have been to lock down running on a specific party, right? They always say, oh, anyone can run, which is accurate. You can run as a write-in or as an independent, but not with like full ballot access without getting, going through this massive, petition drive.
Another story you guys had that we touched on today being Wednesday, was the Braun taking a victory lap over giving the local governments their money they would have gotten from the gas tax. I found this fascinating that we have all this extra tax money, and Braun's like, look at this money we gave you. Look, I think we got some major issues with how we're collecting revenue. You guys did the big story. The local government's like, oh, Braun's the greatest ever. I'm like, would you guys have been saying that if you hadn't got your money? I think the local government, the AIM, and those guys are interesting. What say you?
Well, obviously they're thanking them for getting their money. I'm curious for the Board of Finance meeting, later this month, because what I was told for the story was this is coming from the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, which is state road money. And I just didn't know the state has $200 million sitting around to make these governments whole. I assumed it was coming from reserves, as a one-time hit. So I'm hoping there'll be some more information on that, because if NDOT or that Motor Vehicle Highway Fund just does have extra money sitting around, then why are we not using it? Why are we canceling or postponing projects? That type of thing.
When you like, you said this a while ago on our show, and I referenced it several times, and I think you're absolutely right. They need to have some sort of full disclosure about NDOT, like whether it's a private group or whatever, come out and say, here's where all your money goes. Here's where your gas tax goes. Here's the projects we did. Here's where the wheel tax goes. I just feel like people have no idea. They look at the roads, they don't like the roads, and they say, I'm paying all this money. Where's it go? They've never done that. And you've suggested that for years now. We've talked about that. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear. You can see, they'll tell you exactly how many lane miles have been paved and exactly how many bridges have been, you know, improved and how many roads they've built. You can get all that, but I think the disconnect is people don't think the quality of the roads is worth what we're putting in. And I think that's a fair discussion, and I think I've said this before when I drove I-70 out west, then in Indiana. I'm just kind of curious, is there something they're doing differently in the physical process of roads that we aren't doing here, because ours don't seem to be holding up as well?
We'll get you out of here with this. You guys just had an article that came out today about how much of the governor's office salaries are paid for by other state agencies. I found this fascinating because these statewide offices are always like, we cut X amount of dollars. There's like, oh, no. That money's still rolling in. You're just making somebody else pay. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so if you go into the transparency portal and you put in the agency of the governor, you'll see, 12, 15 names. But the fact is, there's a lot more that, because they're being paid out of other agencies, it makes it look like he's got like a streamlined, low budget operation. But when you put them all together, it's quite a lot. And one of the ones, for instance, was very interesting was the public access counselor's office. They only have 3 people. So they're diverting a third of that agency's budget to a council, office position for the governor. And this is at a time when the PAC cannot keep up with, complaints. We've only seen one ruling, one opinion this entire year. We're starting our 7th month, one opinion. So, but meanwhile, a third of that budget is going elsewhere.
Yeah, what they've done with that public access counselor is gross, because that's a very important position. I know you guys have studied that very carefully and tried to get info. And the fact that they just let that office languish where people can't get there, I mean, that's really the only way to hold local governments accountable, is just unbelievable.
Yeah, well, someone asked me, well, is it that the public access counselor isn't making these opinions, or did they just not post them? And I said, well, we don't know, because every time we email, they don't respond.
She is one of the best in the business. You find her over at the IndianaCapitalChronicle.com. The great Nikki Kelly. Thank you. You have an awesome, amazing 4th of July. Behave yourself.
You too.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hour 3 is here. Of course, it's brought to you by our great friend, John Rust. Thank you to John Rust for sponsoring our third hour. If you're new, you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, when we started, we were 2 hours long. We were, I don't even remember now. Were we 10 to noon? Is that what we were? All that time runs together now. And then we were like, hey, we have so much content we don't get to each day. We should add a third hour. And then I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to go out and sell that. We need somebody that'll just handle that for us. And I was talking to Rust one day, and he's like, I'll sponsor that for you. I'll pay. So ever since then, for what? Well, ever since we got here. So 2 months now. Is that right? How long have we been here?
March 6th, right? March 4th.
No. This building that we're at now. 2 months, right? Did we start in June? No, we started in
May.
Was it May? I don't know. Whatever. I think it's been 2 months. I think we've been here for 2 months. I think that's right. So 2 months. Yeah. Because you pay the first and last month's rent when you move in. So yeah, it's been 2 months. So for 2 months now, we've been from 9 to noon. And that's thanks to our great friend, John Ross. I know somebody's found us for the first time. Like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Hey, all right. We got some important stuff to get you. Big announcement. Breaking news coming down. A couple things we need to get to first before the breaking news. Hey, you guys got a masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye, not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover? Braun Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior. You want to build something new? Braun Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Braun Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramoMackay.com. Beauty built to endure.
6-1. It's only been a month.
No.
That was our
6-1? No. There's no way we've been here more than a month. No. We've been here 2 months. I'm certain of that. I pay the bills around here. I'm certain I've written that many checks. All right. Breaking news. Oh, before we get to that, if you guys haven't done so yet, help us out. You help us grow the program. Like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that little thumbs up button. If you're watching us live or on demand on YouTube, really helps us out, really helps us grow the program. Also, share us out. Facebook, Twitter, wherever you got us on, share it out. Let people know we are here. All of our growth is organic on the program. And last but certainly not least, whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart, all the places, subscribe to that feed. Like, share, and subscribe. It's the way you can help us grow the program. Thank you to some generous people who hit the support button yesterday over at robkendallshow.com. You guys don't know, we have a website, robkendallshow.com. Tons of great things there, tons of fun things to do, including, if you like what we do, we have a support button. Now, we don't go out begging for money all the time. We don't high pressure you for money. But if you like what we do, want to throw a few bucks our way, we don't turn it down, and we certainly appreciate it. Our old pal, Steve Green with an E. He must have hit the jackpot or something, because Steve Green with an E and Mrs. Green with an E, I assume she was involved in that decision too. Very generous support yesterday. Thank you to Steve and his wife, and also our buddy Joe. Joe's a big fan of what we do each day. I don't want to say too much about Joe because it might get him in trouble. But Joe, we love you, man. You're awesome as well. So thanks to everybody, all of you who hit the support button at robkendallshow.com. Okay, breaking news. It came down yesterday while we were on the air. Now we have an addendum, an addition, more to it. They are counting the signatures that Greg Ballard has turned in, and as of this morning, he has passed 40,000 verified signatures. That's the key. Remember, we talked about how he turned in 74,000, and we said, really the number that matters are the verified signatures. He needed to get to 36,943. As of this morning, the counties have verified 40,000 plus signatures. So we said, hey, target should probably be 10% over the number you need to get. So he's going to get that. That would be really 41,000 is going to be the number to feel pretty good about everything. And so he's easily going to get that. So it appears, against all odds, Greg Ballard is going to be on the ballot this fall. Now, just a reminder how this process works. Not going to spend too much time on it today, But the counties will continue to verify the signatures that have been turned in. At some point, they will have a final number to the campaign of verified signatures. And then at that point, the Greg Ballard campaign will turn in all of the verified signatures to the Indiana Election Division. And then at that point, should anybody want to review those signatures, want to potentially challenge those signatures, they can choose to do that. If Ballard is at anything like 42 to 44,000 signatures, I find it very hard to believe there's going to be any sort of formal challenge issued by either of the parties. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to review them. You damn sure know they are, because I got a feeling that the parties are making a list and checking it twice and knowing who to be a-holes to and try to disrupt the life of going forward, because they're going to make a list of who those people are who signed up for Ballard. I'm one of them, but they already hate me, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, congratulations to Greg Ballard and his campaign. They'll easily, in all likelihood, be able to be on the ballot. I mean, look, he could have lost 24,000 of those signatures, roughly a third of them, and still ended up with 50,000 signatures. They exceeded all expectations. Here's what it really shows, guys. It shows the campaign has organization. It shows they have volunteers. It shows they have money to pay people where they need to pay them. It's checking what it's really doing, and this is what's going to really scare both sides. This campaign is checking all of the boxes that donors look at. I mean, money is the lifeblood of politics. It's one of the cases that Bayh has made, I think, quite well. Now, do I think Bayh's actually mad about money in politics? I don't think so, because he gets a lot of it. And it's a huge advantage for him. And good on him. But Bayh's made the case. He said, look, you can't be mad at me for fundraising infinite money, because the other side is going to have infinite money too, and I got to get money wherever I can get it because I need to run ads, because they're going to run a gajillion ads against me. And he's right. And so one of the things Ballard is going to have to show, and now the campaign will change, it will flip, the targets he'll have to hit. He'll have to show the ability to raise money. He'll have to show the ability to fundraise, to be able to bring dollars in. And look, dollars raise dollars. You're like, what? Dollars raise dollars. Donors look at are other people donating. I mean, it's not really all that much different than what we've done here, right? Said I'm going to start a podcast. People are going to do what? And then over the first couple weeks, we brought in several good sponsors. And people were like, oh my gosh, this guy's pulling this off. He's getting listeners. He's getting viewers. He's getting sponsors. And then many of you who hit the support button at Rob Kendall's show, you said, oh, this is something worthwhile. This guy's not going to, he's not going to be the Colts, right, in Baltimore. He's not going to skip out of town on a Mayflower. And so then you get more listeners and you get more viewers and then you get more sponsors and people are more comfortable supporting you financially. It's the same thing with politics. Greg Ballard has shown a lot to potential donors by saying, hey, you're in it not just to get on the ballot, you're in it to win it. The campaign structure is very impressive. He's going to be at least a player in the race. Now, whether he wins or not, who knows? That's a huge uphill climb for him. He starts with no base. I mean, that's one of the things we don't really address about Ballard yet is Republicans start, 40% or whatever in the state. Democrats start with 30-some% probably. Ballard starts with 0. He has to build everything from the ground up. And again, somebody with experience with this, right? I came from a place where you had a base of listeners. You could put the worst programming in the world on, and people would be there listening. There's a certain amount of people who would just be listening. Here, we started from 0. We had to build it all from the ground up. Everything we've done is organic. Everything we've done is earned. Everything we've done is intentional. It's the same thing Ballard's going to have to do. And look, this is, again, not an endorsement, not to tell people to vote for Ballard on any of that. But I do see, and I think we talked a little bit about this, I feel a little bit of a kind of a kinship with Ballard because we're sort of doing the same thing at the same time. I admire what he's doing or what he's done because he's built it all from nothing. That's great. And look, again, that's 0 endorsement of Ballard. We'll see what his campaign actually looks like. It may be the worst campaign ever, and you're like, no, thank you. But at least from the idea of you can have everything kind of set up against you and figure out how to make it work and be successful, I admire the hell out of that. And I don't want to hear anything about, he had to pay for his signatures. That's always the thing. I was talking with somebody about, Abdul and I were shooting the breeze yesterday about that. Off air, obviously. Abdul had stuff yesterday. He couldn't be a part of Statehouse happenings. So we were talking about a bunch of stuff yesterday. And I said, it amazes me that the Republicans are like, well, he had to pay for his signatures. I've worked on a statewide campaign where people had to get signatures. And you know what they did? They hired a bunch of people like me who I had multiple jobs, but one of my jobs was to go get signatures. And they had like a staff. It was a Senate race. We had like 10 people that were like me who were getting monthly salaries. And one of our major jobs for the first 3 months was to go get signatures, to get the guy on the ballot. 2 months. Every campaign that has ever run for statewide office, for the most part, has put big money into getting their signatures. And so when the Republicans do it, by the way, they have to get a fraction on the Republican side and Democrat side of what Ballard had to get. It's fine. It's standard operating procedure. When Ballard did it, look, he had to pay for his signatures. What a loser. The fact that he figured out, this is one of the things that Ballard has done that is a huge scare to the Republicans is Ballard's cracked the code. Any rich person now realizes I can run for whatever office I want, and it's going to cost me $250,000. That's your entry fee now. Not all that much, right? It used to be, and this is why a lot of good people didn't run or rich people didn't run, they didn't want the stain of the libertarians. The libertarians were kind of perceived as the only game in town. If you want to run, not as a Democrat or Republican, you got to run as a libertarian. I've talked to numerous rich people over the years. I said, why don't you just run as a libertarian? They got ballot access. I don't want to be associated with those people. And look, there's many fine people that are libertarians. I got a bunch of friends that are great libertarians. There's also some real squirrels. Because there's no institutional discipline in the Libertarian Party. So you get all of them. And there's no message discipline. And there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. And so sometimes you got good libertarian candidates, and then sometimes you get complete nut jobs. And so people are just like, I don't want to be associated with that. I'm not going to run. But what Ballard has done now is he's cracked the code, and Ballard is letting all the other like rich guys who might want to run know, hey, it's going to cost you $250,000. That's your fee to pay the people to go get the signatures. Now, I don't know what Ballard's campaign finance report's going to look like. It may end up being a little more than that. I don't know. But that's basically your barrier to access. You want to run for U.S. Senate? You want to run for governor? You want to run for any of the statewide offices? Treasurer, any of them? Attorney General? Your barrier to access is now $250,000. And that's going to wake some people up because it's a lot of money to us. It ain't a lot of money to really rich people. And that's what's going to scare the hell out of the Republicans. Is number one, look, here are the things that are at play that everybody needs to think about when you start thinking about voting. I don't know, we're a ways off from that. And we got to see what Ballard's campaign looks like. We got to see what Bayh's campaign looks like and what Engling looks like and all this stuff, right? But here's the things you got to consider when you vote. A vote for the Republican is a vote to condone the behavior of Diego Morales. Are you okay with that? I don't care how much you hate the Democrats. Are you okay with condoning the behavior the last 4 years of Diego Morales? If you vote for the Republican, the answer is yes, because he will cover it up. They will sweep it under the rug, and you'll never know what happened, and he'll never be held accountable. And some people will be okay with that. A lot of people will be okay with that. In fact, when it's all said and done, there's still probably a better likelihood than not that maybe the majority of people or not the majority, but a plurality of people in our state will be okay with that. A vote for Greg Ballard is more than about Greg Ballard winning. It's about whether you want permanent competition. If Greg Ballard gets 10%, you have permanent competition for the next 4 years. That Lincoln Party will have primary ballot access. If your vote is about flipping a middle finger to the Republicans, best thing you might be able to do for the next 4 years is vote for Ballard. And then there's a vote for Bayh. And the vote for Bayh is he probably, as of right now, if you're about opposition, if you're about Republicans losing the seat itself, probably as of right now, pending Ballard being able to show polls that show him competitive, like polls now that'll probably be coming out sooner rather than later, Bayh is still probably your best option on that. Like, they all represent different things. And by the way, there is a libertarian running, Lori Schillings. We've had her on our show. She's very nice. Look, the only plausible reason to vote for the libertarian is you want the libertarians to keep their ballot access. I mean, I'm sorry, the protest vote is now Ballard's. The protest vote used to be the libertarians. It's now Ballard's. Because Ballard is going to be a far more robust in terms of the candidate himself. And it's not, again, it's not, Lori Schillings is very nice. She comes off very competent. She comes off very normal. She's one of the good, like, libertarian people that I talk about. The problem is she's hampered by a party that for years hasn't done anything. And it's a party that has kept its ballot access based on the many of the votes being protest votes. I mean, I would guess probably libertarians normally get that, 3% of the vote. I would guess at least one and a half of it is protest vote. And if all those protest votes start going to Ballard, they got a big problem. Because if they don't get 2%, they lose their ballot access. Lori Schilling's entire goal and her entire message needs to be, if you don't vote for me, you will lose the libertarians as an alternative on your ballot. That should be her entire message. If you want to decrease competition, don't vote for me. That's the only logical pitch she's going to have to a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's a bad pitch. I'm saying it's a pitch I'd do if I were her. She's not going to be able to raise the money. She's not going to have the infrastructure. And with Ballard taking the protest votes, it's going to be a tough climb. And I don't want the libertarians to lose their ballot access. I don't. The more competition we have, the better. But all of these votes have impacts. Your vote's really going to matter. This is what's so cool about Ballard being involved. It's what's so cool and why I've been so passionate about him getting on the ballot. Now your vote really matters no matter who you vote for. Every vote has a ramification. Every vote is important. Every vote is going to mean something to whoever you vote for and whoever you don't vote for. That's the way our election should be. They're not that way enough, but now they will be. All right. Real quick, I saw this. I wanted to make sure I hit on it. Gallup, they're a polling firm. Very famous polling firm, maybe the most famous polling firm in the country. They had an interesting poll out about how people view America. And this is not good. According to Gallup, 33% of U.S. adults say they're, quote, extremely proud to be an American. It is the lowest number since Gallup started tracking this in 2001. So it is the lowest number in 25 years. Another 20% say they are very proud, which means just over half of Americans express a high level of pride in their country. That's bad, guys. That's not good. Back in 2001, when Gallup first asked the question, 55% of U.S. adults said they were extremely proud to be an American. Again, the number today is 33%. The highest number was a surge, 70% of extreme pride after 9/11. So we are half what we were after 9/11. Since 2018, so in the era of Trump and post-Trump, no more than 47% of U.S. adults have said they are extremely proud. Look, this is a major issue because are you proud of your government or are you proud of what your country has represented or represents? I think it's different, right? You can be critical of your government and be proud of your country. But I think we're struggling to separate that anymore. I think the politics has become so toxic. I think we're so partisan now. I think there was a time where Democrats, if a Republican was president, could say, yeah, I don't really like the way things are going or what we're doing, but I still love being an American. Or vice versa. Like, I think there were tons of Republicans who, if you'd have polled them, now this question started in 2001, but if you'd have polled them, say, in 1996, even though a Democrat was president, they would have said, yeah, I'm still very proud to be an American. I don't think we're able to do that anymore. I think the pride stuff for a lot of people is based on who's in the White House and not what the country itself is always actually represented. The the partisan divide. So here we go. The partisan divide persists, according to Gallup, the partisan divide persists and has been larger the past 2 years with the Republican Donald Trump as president. Currently, 70% of Republicans, only 28% of independents, and 14% of Democrats say they're proud to be an American. Look, America, no matter who the president has been, and there have been some stinkers over the years, way before Trump or Biden or Obama or Bush, there were some real stinkers. We could run through the list one day. They were kind of bad. But the idea of what America's always represented, America is the greatest idea ever conceived by man. The mere idea of America is the greatest idea ever conceived by man. The only thing greater than America is the Bible, inspired by God. It's the only idea greater than America. And that was not inspired by man. And the ideals of America, I think, have sustained us. Whether you agree with individual actions, whether you agree with the decisions, the ideals of America and what they should be, what America ought to be, the striving to achieve the thing of what we believe America should be and what America has done. Look, America has freed more people in its 250-year existence than the history of the rest of the world combined. How could you not be proud of that? Nobody's more critical of their government than me, both sides. I'm very proud to be an American. I'm very proud of what America stood for. I'm very proud of what the idea of it represents. I'm not always proud, as you guys know, and I'm very critical of people who make choices. The same way as nobody loathes the state government more than me. I'm very proud to be a Hoosier. I've had many opportunities to leave, and I've always had at least one foot right here in this state. Even when I owned a business far, far away, I was always here. I was always a Hoosier. Because Indiana and what it represents and what I grew up with and those ideals and those things I learned from my parents and my grandparents were important to me. My neighbors, my friends, they're important to me. Nobody's more critical of Indiana government than me. I'm still very proud to be a Hoosier. Democrats and independents' pride levels are at a new low for their respective groups. Drop among Democrats is similar to their shift during Trump's first administration. Look, if you are judging your pride in this country on who is in the White House, you're doing America all wrong. Because your side sucks too. And that's part of the problem with our country is they don't always acknowledge their side sucks. When their side oftentimes does the exact same stuff the other side does. The percentage of Democrats who are extremely proud to be American has been lower in Trump's second term than his first. It bottomed out at 22% in 2019. So that's infinitely lower. That's almost half, right? It's 14% now. That's a horrible number. Extreme pride among women has fallen sharply since last year, down 13 points to 26%. Men remain unchanged at 42%. And I think that's because more and more women are becoming Democrat. Significant declines are also seen among Americans aged 18 to 34, down 10 points to 14%. And those ages 35 to 54 dropping 12 points to 30%. 55 and older, down 4 points, 48%. And I think part of this is because we don't instill in our young people anymore what it means to be an American, the sacrifices made by people for us to have the opportunities that we have and still do have for all of our faults. I don't think we instill that in young people anymore. And so I think people just are judging this now based on what am I getting? Again, there's a difference between you be disenchanted with your government and still be proud of your country. But I don't think people separate that anymore. I don't think they're capable of separating it. I mean, when Biden was president, if you ask me, are you still proud to be a Hoosier? Are you still proud to be American? Yes, of course. Do I think Biden's screwing all this stuff up? Yes, absolutely. When Holcomb was governor, nobody hated Holcomb more than me. Should have got a plaque. Still was proud to be a Hoosier. But people aren't able to separate that anymore because they're not learning about it. Feelings of pride are also lower this year among people of color, down 10 points to 20%. And those who do not have a college degree down 10 points to 35%, according to Gallup. Republicans, 69%, are currently far more likely than independents, 42%, or Democrats, 26%, to report displaying the American flag. That's interesting. Now, I'm not a person that's like, if you don't have an American flag out, you don't love your country. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I do have an American flag. It does fly every day. Well, one thing, my old man put it up, and he changes it when it gets tattered. But I also have a light on the top of my pole, so I don't have to take it down each day. I got to be honest with you guys, that would be a lot of work. I got a lot of stuff going on. But because I got the light, I'm in good standing. It's like when we owned that radio station. Remember, we were grandfathered in on the tower, so we didn't have to have the thing on the top that the airplanes, you have to have for the airplanes. We were grandfathered in, and it was like all these other radio stations have to worry about. So for you guys who don't know, most radio station towers, it's based on size and it's based on when the thing was built, have to have the lights on the top of them that flash continually. And it's for airplanes, right? You don't want planes flying into towers. But if you built your tower before a certain time, or if it was under a certain height, you don't have to have them. It's really expensive to pay some guy to climb up and change the light. And there ain't many people in that business anymore. By the way, if you want to make money, and I'm not offering career advice, I'm just saying this as a former radio station owner, radio engineer is where it's at. Because there's so few people that do it anymore or know how to do it. Tower climber or radio station engineer, you have the, I'm not saying you have the lane completely to yourself. I'm saying it's a good career maybe to get in if you don't want to have competition. But only 69% of Republicans fly the American flag. That's interesting. By the way, in 1986, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. In 1986, so this has actually increased. In 1986, Republicans, 50% flew the flag. Democrats, 42% flew the flag. And independents, 36% flew the flag. So today, it's Republicans, 69% fly the flag. Independents, 42% fly the flag. Democrats, 26% flew the flag. Republicans and independents, that number's actually up. Democrats, it's way down. That's interesting. Fascinating. All right. Anyway, no rhyme or reason to any of that. I just thought you guys would find that interesting about how people feel about their country. One of my favorite parts of our country is producer Jason and the YouTube chat, which we will do for you coming up next. You're the Star, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Stick around for that. You're watching The Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290.
Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention The Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, hit that little thumbs up button. Really helps us grow this show every single day. Jason's going to join us here in just a little bit for the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. But before that, you want to build wealth through real estate, whether you're buying your first rental property or growing an investment portfolio, financing matters. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps investors explore loan options designed for rental properties and long-term wealth building. As a local mortgage advisor, Gary works one-on-one with investors to help them understand their financing options and create a strategy that fits their goals. Learn more at loansbygary.homes, loanbygary.homes. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. Reminder, no show tomorrow. So this is your last 30 minutes of the week. But if you're like, I need my Rob Kendall fix, we got Statehouse Happenings that's up. It is now posted under our videos tab. Of course, if you're on the Apple, the Spotify, the iHeart, you guys got that as well this morning. So you don't have to give up on us. You can still watch us. You can check us out today, tomorrow. Statehouse Happenings is great. You guys know I've done Statehouse Happenings for 10 years now. Love Statehouse Happenings. Long before I was on WIBC. It's the fastest 30 minutes of Indiana politics and government each week. We take the biggest stories, we crunch them down to 30 minutes, and recap the week that was. Jim Merritt is on that committee that's going to help nominate the new IURC commissioner. All of our utility bills depend on that. It's a great look behind the scenes of how the process actually works. Merritt is awesome on that sort of stuff. That's why I love Jim Merritt. Nobody knows the institution like Merritt. And so he walks us through this week on Statehouse Happenings how they're going to nominate that next person. Your wallets depend on it. Become a more educated Hoosier. Check out Statehouse Happenings. Speaking of more educated, you Hoosiers are more educated than this next guy. You know him. You love him. Producer Jason.
It's Blue Shirt Thursday.
Oh, we wore the same shirt.
Yes, we did.
Oh, I just noticed that.
Happened.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I noticed it earlier.
That's great.
Yeah. Need to bring another one just to change in case. Yes. All right, so the chat today brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. John McKinney. If your water heater, water softener, well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys, and Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with that American Heroes discount. Make sure you take advantage of that. Give John a call, 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing.
You know, McKinney's our super fan. I found out one of the guys I talked to yesterday that owns several businesses, and he was like, he said, hey, let's do you for years on the radio show. And he goes, John was talking to you up the other day. He's talking about how much business you've gotten him. And and he said, so, we had a great conversation about what he does and how we can get to work for him. And he said, John is your biggest fan, man. He's like, John talks you up everywhere you go. So, guys.
Well, it's on his van.
Well, it is literally on his van, right? And they're a part of a networking group. He's like, he was talking about you there and blah, blah, blah. And so, guys, if you ever need a plumber, any plumbing, call John. He's awesome. He's a great dude. He does great work. I know many of you have already used him, but he loves our show. He is such a blessing to our show. Thank you, John McKinney at Black Sheep Plumbing.
Oh, look at these chats here. Everybody's trying to get in the chat today by complimenting me, and that's the best way to do it. Tony, Indiana, it's not Republican versus Democrat. It's us versus them, and Jason will save us all.
Oh,
yep.
Well, that's a big ask.
Leave it to me.
Oh, holy smokes.
Rusted Bolt Garage, Jason for president.
Why is everybody being nice to you today?
I don't know. It's, I don't know.
What did you do?
It's Thursday. I don't know. Let's see. Rusted Bolt. Well, okay, let's see. Finally some real talent. Bring it on, Jason. What the hell?
What? Are you making that up?
What's wrong with Rob? No, I'm not making that. I would never.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch it. Remember, what was that movie Dan Aykroyd and Belushi were in, 1941? Is that the one where they switched it, where Belushi's the normal guy, or Neighbors? There was one movie with
Freaky
Belushi.
Friday?
No, John Belushi was not around by the time
No,
Freaky Friday came out.
Same premise.
But Belushi and Aykroyd, in most movies, Aykroyd's that they were in together, Aykroyd's the straight guy, Belushi's the wild one. They switched it up.
Okay.
Where Aykroyd was Neighbors, I think maybe was the name of it. But
so which one of us is the wacky
Well,
guy?
I'm saying we're going to switch it up. Next Monday, I'm going to be producer Jason and do the YouTube chat. And I'm going to let you come in here and sit in this chair and rant for 2.5 hours. The old switcheroo.
Right. There we go. I think people are just having fun with you, Rob.
I want to switch it up.
If there was no Rob Kendall, there would be no producer Jason. So
well, vice versa.
And they didn't sit here for 2.5 hours waiting on me. They would have just tuned in right now.
No, I love that they love you. I just don't know what I did to people today.
Oh, I think you had a really good show today.
I was pretty proud of it.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. I think they're just having fun. They're just trying to make me feel good, I think, is the sentiment.
Well, you do a great job.
It's all tongue-in-cheek. Come on, guys. Put me on the spot. All right.
Jason's going to get berated after the show.
Yeah,
what did you tell those guys?
Yeah. What are you saying in the chat to spur that? Joseph Norris, by the way, hey, producer Jason, if Rob doesn't mention it, and I know you did, it would be, could you give the info for the dog fence company, please? I need a boundary line break traced and fixed. So I've got the number here, Rob, because
you want me to give it out?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and give it? Yeah, you could do something for the show today.
All American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. Kelly and Jeff are the owners of the company. 317-862-6606. They're awesome. They're huge fans of our show. They're great patriots, and that All American Dog Fence company is awesome.
Neighbors was the name of the movie.
Neighbors. I thought that was it. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Jason holds all the chat comment cards. Yep. There we go. Oh, and here you go. Somebody finally gave you a compliment there. Should we do that switch? Jack the Libertarian. That would be a ratings drop. Yes, it would. Because, let's see, I'd probably come in with some fever stuff. And then I'd be like, come on, guys, what's up? Give me some chat. And I would just talk back and forth to people.
Yeah.
So, okay, that probably would not be. That's why it's not a podcast.
Well, that Neighbors movie didn't go over well either. Everybody's got the rules.
Say that's.
It was a. I think Spielberg was. Or was that 1941? Spielberg was the director of one of them. Anyway,
I wasn't into a lot of those movies, but MLM Warriors was first in the chat last night. I was late putting it up. It was about 9 o'clock, something like that, and I just sat there and waited. And MLM Warriors
stared at it,
popped in. Well, I was doing some other stuff. I just kept watching, and it's like, I see you, I got you, I know who was in first. All right, then I had to go to bed. This morning, however, I believe it was Rusted Bolt Garage. Morning all. I'm first. Woohoo.
Oh, very good.
There we go. MLM Warriors followed up second. Happy Made in the USA Day, observed on July 2nd to encourage the manufacturing of goods in the United States and purchasing of those American-made goods.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
It's hard to find a lot of good American-made goods anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
All American Dog Fence.
Yeah,
all their stuff made right here in the
we
USA.
know with Japan, the DJI, they suck. Had an issue with the camera today.
Yeah, Jason's camera that you guys see him on. The camera's fine. It's just the little thing he monitors himself on is
my little stick camera.
Broke.
And I was telling Shrog Sandwich to buy one of those. Don't buy one of those, Shrog. I'm gonna have to do a YouTube video on that and bring the heat.
Now,
that's what I'll do on Monday.
I will say this, and I say this as a compliment. Jason is one of the most spiteful people I've ever met, and you don't want him angry at you.
That's quite the compliment.
Well, I'm saying, like, actually, oddly enough, the two most spiteful people I've ever met are both named Jason.
Oh,
you and Jason Hammer are the two most spiteful people I've ever met.
Peas in a pod.
Yeah, and so when you piss Jason off, he's relentless. I can't wait to see this video.
It's hard for me to let
we
stuff
should. Here's what we should do. If you do the video, we should broadcast it on the show.
Okay,
I think people would love that.
I'll make it extra
I think
spicy.
people would love that.
It won't be Blythe spicy,
Yeah,
but
that language was, I don't know. I got to talk to her about
that. Yeah, that's all right.
You can't do that.
We'll get to that. All right. Kevin Branham. Good morning, Rob and Jason. The old man 68. Happy Thursday, everyone. Running behind today because of an early morning doctor's appointment. Staples removed from my legs.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
Now, if I could get rid of this walking boot, well, give it time, old man. It'll happen. We have faith. Almond Joy Tempo. Morning, everyone. Dang. This is like Black Friday shopping back in the day or camping out for concert tickets. What time did y'all get here? Talking about how everybody's here so early. And
yes.
Rusted Bolt Garage. I've been awake since 4 o'clock. We're tailgating, apparently, before the show. All right. Carol, 1776.
What time do you get up?
I roll out about maybe 6:15 now. I just kind of wake up before. I set the alarm at 6:40, but I'm always kind of up 6:15-ish or whatever, and feel like I got to get in here and make sure and get all your stuff put in.
Yeah.
So in case there's an issue like damn camera breaking down, piece of crap. All right. Almond Joy. Okay, we did that. But Almond Joy Tempo. I'm usually up between 4 and 5, but I wasn't in the chat. Yeah, it's a little early to be in the chat. You guys are hardcore dedicated. I'll go to the live shows and participate here, but I'm a bit of a slacker. I don't think 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's early.
Would subject you to being a
That's
slacker.
okay. This would be one of the advantages. Not saying this would ever happen.
Sure.
But if, like, say one day we were just like, whatever thing we're doing next, if we went to noon to 3. Because I got to tell you, I get up at 5 every morning now. And that has disrupted my ecosystem.
Oh, you're up at 5?
Well, to do the template.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of stuff happens at night.
What time's the little tyrant get up?
Usually about 6:30.
Oh, so you're up before her.
Oh, yeah, wait.
Wow.
Like, my job is to get her up and get her to daycare.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay.
So I spend about an hour and a half working on the show because I was doing it the night before, and then it's like she goes to bed about 9. It's like after then, like, I'm tired. I still got to work out because I try to take a nap now during the day. So 5 o'clock. So you guys, if you're up at 5, I'm up with you.
All right. Okay, everybody's looking for Mad Duck. She hasn't been in the chat.
Yeah,
last
she all
couple
right?
days. We got a great photo of her and me and Schrog posted on Producer Jason on Facebook if you want to go check that out. And but she had some animal issues.
Oh no!
Issues with one of her animals.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's I don't know how much info I can give there, but yeah, very sad. So she's a little put off this week. So she's okay, but emotionally, I think there's some issues.
That's a hard thing.
Yeah, very very tough. So okay, Ethan Hatcher. Good morning, all you beautiful Robbleheads. Even the what's that? Even the the ugly ones too. Something like that. I'm not
what?
sure.
Oh, that Ethan didn't say that.
Schrog Sandwich. I have a kids' camp painting class in a building with no AC this morning.
No way.
So I won't be here the whole time. Pray for me, she asked.
You're going to put a bunch of kids in a building with no air conditioning?
That's crazy.
That can't be legal.
What is he? This is Paris or something? Would you fly to Paris?
Jeez.
All right. C-Mills, good morning, all. Double D's wings were awesome last night. Also decided to abuse myself and work tomorrow when I should get it off. St. Louis and back ain't that bad, though. That's not a bad drive. 70, those. From Indianapolis to the Illinois line sucks, but after you get past that, it's actually not too bad.
C-Mills is a trucker.
He's a trucker.
Yeah. Here's the thing I have found. I was thinking about this last night. One thing they don't tell you when you become a parent, there ain't no more off days.
No. Yeah.
Because one of the reasons we took Friday off, well, you insisted. But I got to...
And it's well needed.
Kids out of daycare.
Right.
So I got to, like, watch my kid all day.
Right.
My wife has to work.
Right.
So,
we can celebrate Mom's birthday all day. That's my agenda for tomorrow.
So it's like harder work watching a kid than doing this show. Like, this is nothing. You know.
Right.
One of these days, guys,
that's why people work when they have kids.
It is. It is.
Stay at home mom? No, I got to work.
One of these days, guys, I'm going to try this for fun. I'm going to try to do a show without a template. Without any, like, I'm just going to come in and talk.
I'm sure you could do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun someday, just to see how good or bad it is.
Oh, I think you can knock that out.
I mean, notes are important.
Well, there you go.
But I couldn't do notes with the tablet. I mean,
I think you could if you did.
It's too hard to
force to. Maybe I'll force you to do that one day. You'd have to buy one, though, so that's not happening.
Yeah, it's not.
Steve Green with an E. Why does the BMV need a spokesperson?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've told the story before. I know I have.
How much did that spokesperson make? Did we say? See, you got to have the. See, you can't survive without.
Yeah, well, that's my. Well, stuff like that. How would you remember all the stats?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. This is from the Capital Chronicle article. So for those of you who are new, it's like, what is he talking about? There was an article about how Braun is taking a bunch of money from other agencies to pay his people, so his stats look better. Okay, it says, according to the Capital Chronicle, The Bureau of Motor Vehicles pays Ava Hassel, an executive assistant to Chief of Staff Josh Kelly, and spokeswoman Megan Smaltz. The latter earns the third highest salary in the BMV, about $20,000 more annually than the BMV spokesman Greg Dunn.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say the exact number. You could look it up on the transparency portal, but it doesn't say, but he makes $20,000 more.
Okay, there we go.
Anyway, I applied to be a spokesperson one time.
Oh, is that right?
For the lottery.
Oh, you didn't get it?
I'm certain I've told this story before. I know I've told it on the air. I don't know, maybe not to you. This
yeah,
what
I
I
never listened to you on the
well,
air.
I know. Yeah. This was when I was working for the auditor's office.
Okay, right.
And they asked
back when you were a big Pence fan.
Before no, this
Holcomb was your buddy at the time, I believe.
This was in the process we were figuring out what Pence was. This was before they begged me to come back and go to the pharmacy board.
Mm-hmm.
The lottery asked me to come over and interview because they had a spokesperson position. So they asked me to go over and interview.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's the lottery.
You're going to replace Mark Patrick?
No, not like he's the spokesman. This would be the spokesperson, like for the lottery itself.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's the lottery. This will be great. It's like, these people are probably so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm going to wow them with humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys have asked me to come over. You probably know a little bit about me. And so I sit down, and they, they give you the tour of the place first, and, they show you all the stuff and all the lottery tickets and all the stuff. And right. I'm like, oh, this is like the Willy Wonka factory here. These people are great. They probably love humor. I sit down. It's like a couple of Bobs, like from the movie Office Space, right? And I looked at him and I go, all right, let's get this out of the way first. I said, just how rigged is the lottery? And they just stared back at me. I said, okay, I'll show myself out now.
Just think, this could have been the Bob Kendall show. Thankfully, Mom and Dad went with Rob.
I was like, oh, that didn't go over well. Humor's not wanted here. Okay, goodbye. Thanks. See you later.
All right. Well, what do you expect with a couple Bobs? All right.
Well, they were real nice until then. And I was like, oh, maybe they're feeling it, whatever.
This may not be the right candidate. Drew points out when you talk about the cottage
and
the
bistro.
picnic basket, you're supposed to say it picnic basket, which I believe is referencing Yogi Bear.
Oh, I got you.
A picnic basket.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I see what Drew's doing
Drew's paying attention on that.
Yep.
Rusted Bolt Garage, love the shirt. Well, thank you.
Mine or his?
His? What do you mean his?
Yours.
Well, I mean, we have the same shirts. So
oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
They're usually talking about you.
Oh.
As a nod to Mom.
Oh, to my mom. Yeah.
I believe that's the where that all goes.
Put my mom to work tomorrow. I told her, I'm not watching this kid on my own. Right. Get over here, Grandma.
Okay, so we had Blythe Potter in.
Yes.
And TIF3HV, fraternizing with the enemy, I see. Well, I mean, Rob has always fraternized with the enemies.
I mean, like...
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
So, liberal people do exist in our world. They do have influence.
All right, so these are going to be interesting comments here about the Blythe.
We interview everyone.
All right, Drew, Blythe seems cool. All right, we start with that. Jim Tennecore, would she be a Broad Ripple 7? Not that I look at outward appearances. Okay. Now we get to the...
He did not say that.
I said that. He said that. I didn't. Jim said that. Bucko 707. I can't stand the F word. It makes you sound trashy. The 060.
Okay, wait. Real quick. Let's back up for a second.
Buck.
Back up for a second to explain this. I'm sure most of our audience knows this. But for some people, we have new people all the time. People are like, you were on the radio? Whatever. So years ago, I came up with a system.
Mm-hmm.
I remember exactly where I was where I came up with the system. Chumley's. You remember Chumley's?
Oh, yeah.
Was across from, well, at the time, it was an exercise place.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a trophy shop next to it.
Okay.
Trophy shop became Brothers. The exercise place became Kilroy's. But back in the day, Chumley's was one of the, in the 2000s, one of the chill bars. Like, it wasn't a Rock Lobster or a Land Sharks. It was a place you could sit. And they had an outdoor, it was like blocked in, but it was patio seating. You could stand, they would open it up. It was outside. And I would sit there and I would observe people together, right? Like couples that were together.
Right.
And most people, like I came up with a system. I'm like, all right, on a 1 to 10 scale, what would I rate this person on their appearance?
Mm-hmm.
And almost every person that I determined in my scientific study was within 2 of the person that they were with.
Oh,
like, okay, so
So they matched pretty well.
Right. Like a 7 would always be with a 5.
Usually the woman's better looking than the guy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But the fun ones were like, okay, she's a 7, he's a 3. How rich is he? Like, what is his thing?
There
right.
Could be other factors.
So I came up with a rating system in my younger, more what's the word I'm looking for here?
Immature days.
Well, I don't know if immature is the word.
I'd say that.
More vain days.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And everybody got a rating on a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was never anyone who ever achieved the level of Broad Ripple 10. I never gave out a Broad Ripple 10.
So Broad Ripple 10 is like extremely hot? Or
Yeah.
I always thought it was like an insult. Like okay, because it's Broad Ripple and you're
No.
That's a 10.
These are like ratings on how good people look.
4.
There were a couple in the history of doing this of Broad Ripple 9s, but like I'm very tough grader. So if you were an 8, you were smoke.
Okay.
7 is very, very hot. 6 is still okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now once we get to 5, now we're in
So you've never seen a 10.
There was nobody ever achieved the level of 10.
Okay. Except
my wife, right?
Okay, there we go. Awesome.
But I went.
It only took.
Wait. No. See, you can't even do that because I never rated my wife because I loved my wife.
I did when we were in the elevator.
That's right. You told that story at the live show.
Okay, Rusted Bolt Garage was not referring to our shirt. He was referring to Blythe's shirt.
Oh,
it said Buck. What did it say? Buck the Braun or
Buck Braun or something like that. It was a donkey.
There we go. That's what he was referring to, not us. How vain is that? Okay, so Buck 0707. I can't stand the F word. 0601 O board. I agree with Buck. Charles Luty agreed. When you're running for public office, the profanity is not a good look. Presentation matters. Steve Green with an E. I spoke with her at the live show. She has an extremely large personality, and she is brass. Her use of profanity is just who she is. I prefer she be who she is as opposed to fake. Okay.
Interesting.
LD Stoltz. She's also ex-military, and that's how they are. Rusted Bolt Garage. Exactly, Steve and LD. Shrog Sandwich. Overuse the F-bomb is distracting, but what I absolutely cannot stand is hearing some saying the GD word and the JC word. Drives me up the wall and evokes anger. I think Shrog has used the F word in the chat before.
Yeah.
I had to kind of let's back that off a little bit, Shrog. But we all love Shrog. Sue Seifert at Steve E. Steve Green with an E. I will take honest, though distasteful to me over politician talk. Okay. I will take honest over distasteful to, not sure, over politician talk every single day. Okay. In other words, she had no problem with the F-bomb.
Right.
Okay, that's what she's trying to say. I believe. Don't want to put words in anybody's mouth about their... Okay. Bucko 707. Totally would never vote for her. Steve Green with an E. I don't use profanity in public out of respect for people I don't know, but I'm a huge fan of F-bombs, especially when I'm trying to fix something. Golf
great.
Tango X-ray. Yeah, Golf Tango X-ray.
Great.
So this woman hides her unsavory associations. She mentioned the B group.
Oh.
Okay. You might have to go back and watch that. In order to fool the general public. Definitely a socialist, which is just the polite term for communist. All right. This is just thoughts in the chat there. Rusted Bolt Garage. Speaking at No Kings. Nope. I'll be back when this segment is over. I liked her till then.
Well, that was the end of the segment.
That was we only had about 30 seconds.
Well, okay, wait.
Hopefully
Okay,
it wasn't
wait. So, somebody's super lib.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which she is. She doesn't hide it.
Right.
We have a whole long conversation where we're talking about how liberal she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then find out she's spoken at No Kings rally. And you're like, that's enough for me. That's very interesting to me. I like that. I want to know more about that.
Steve Green with an E. I don't think 0601 O board hit the like yet. Got to earn it. I don't know. Did we earn it yet? Okay, Robert Schwartz. Have always heard swearing is a sign of ignorance, but as both a lifelong factory worker and military veteran, plus a product of my father's farming background, it's ingrained in me. Don Kitterman. The cursing from a wannabe politician is very off-putting, zero reason for it, and I'm a cussing machine, but learn how to read the room.
She would have...
Boy, she's getting...
Well, she would have a hard time winning a general election. And I think that's like the argument, right? This is part of the whole conversation. She would have a hard time both on her views and her style winning independents or Republicans. I think she'd do fine in future Democrat primaries. I think she'll definitely be an office, not holder, but depending on what office she runs for, nominee. But those people are right on a lot of that stuff. That's not going to play well in a general election.
MLM Warriors have Potter back.
Oh, yeah, we'll have her back.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the other issue. John McKinney. Wait, you hung a flag upside down and you're a vet. No, she didn't hang the flag upside down. The flag, from what I gather, she was at the event. The No Kings.
I think that's right.
It was upside down,
right?
But she still got up to speak, and she mentioned that she was a little put off by that, but she still got it, or she still did it. And he goes on to say, "Sorry, lost all respect, and I have to discount everything she says now." Let's see, Josh Richardson, exactly. Charles, I said, wait a minute, did I read Charles? Yeah, no king apologist. She's one of those people that if you let her talk long enough, you find out who she really is. Well, I think she was pretty
she's pretty direct
front about that.
But that's it. The no king stuff, and that's why I asked her about it. Like stuff like that, you can't win a general election in the state if you're speaking at the no king stuff. I mean, that's. And I talked, and to her credit, she's like, "Hey, I did it. Not apologizing for it. I did it. Great. We need more honest people like that." But the other thing is like having a Destiny Wells introduce you at the convention. Right. You got to break free of that.
Well, what popped in my mind was, would a Holocaust survivor stand in front of a Nazi flag to give a speech to people that she somewhat agrees with? See, that's whatever. That might not be a good comparison even. But then you have Robert Schwartz, who pops in with, just a question for those bringing up the upside-down flag. Do you feel the same way about Samuel Alito?
Oh, I was going to say that!
Supreme Court Justice. It's documented. He did the same thing. Now, that was his wife that hung the flag upside down at their house. And people were like, "You're a Supreme Court Justice. Why is a flag upside down at your house?" He says, "Well, my wife has her own views, and her view is that America is in distress." So she hung, and I believe it was not when Trump was in
January 6th.
I think it was January 6th. So she hung the flag upside down, and it was at Alito's house. He said, "Hey, she's got her opinions as well, but it is a bad look to be the Supreme Court Justice of the United States, and your flag, well, my wife hung it upside down."
But the flag upside down is a sign of distress, right? It's always been that. So,
I think people are putting at a No Kings rally.
Flag.
I think at a No Kings rally, people are putting the connotation there that they're hanging it upside down for a different reason than a ship sailing that's in distress.
Yeah. That's fine. Look, her speaking at the rally is the big thing, and it's fine for the Democrat base. But there's no way any of those people in Indiana. Now, some places you get away with it. There's no, and to her credit, she didn't run from it or anything.
Yeah. Now, if a Republican spoke at a Duke, what's his name?
The Duke of Spindingburg?
No,
Todd Young.
No,
David Duke.
David Duke.
Todd Young.
At a rally where David Duke and the KKK are there.
Right.
Again, it's like, well, I want to get my message out. Yeah, but did you need to go to that event to do it?
Sure.
I think is kind of. I think that's where people are kind of paralleling all this sort of stuff. So, okay, now we move on.
Yes.
To and I'm sure she's sitting back, kind of laughing at all this.
Oh, she thinks this is all funny.
Yeah,
she
does have a great personality.
She's a riot.
Yeah.
Like like the people who are like fraternizing with the enemy. I'm a commentator. All these people are interesting to me.
Yeah. You can't have just a bunch of Republicans on here and kiss their ass like everybody else does.
Yeah, these Republicans are some of the most boring people imaginable. She's at least interesting.
Yeah, we have intelligent people that can make decisions.
She's very interesting. She's a riot.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We talked about South Bend, the region, all that good stuff. LD Stoltz, not much going on in South Bend except the university. Andy Engel, this sounds more like a money laundering scheme, talking about the Bears Stadium. And yeah, who wants to go to Gary? Even people with family there don't want to go to Gary. The 0601 board. Born and raised in South Bend, Tony, Indiana. At 0601 board, you turned out mostly okay, even though you're from South Bend. He said, and the 0601 board, they couldn't keep the College Football Hall of Fame next to Notre Dame.
Look,
that's how bad they
Notre
are,
Dame is a beautiful campus. I've been there multiple times. The stuff around Notre Dame is beautiful. The hospital campus is very nice. and it's not of the people there or grew up there or whatever, but the actual.
So your point is that if they built this stadium, the stadium would be beautiful. Yeah. The roads right around the stadium would be beautiful. They'd have all kinds of great little restaurants, but then nobody would go into town and actually spend any money or visit or whatever because they're spending hours at the game and then they're eating. They're not going to go sightseeing in Hammond.
No.
Just like people going to Buc-ee's in Greenwood are not going to go into Greenwood to other restaurants. That makes no sense.
I mean, it's like if you've ever been to the Bulls Stadium where the Bulls play on the south side of Chicago, the United Center. I don't know if it's still called that or not. But that area around there, and I've been there multiple times for Springsteen concerts, other stuff. That area sucks. There's nothing around that area that you're like, wow, everything really grew up and was great. I mean, there's the stadium, right? That's okay. But everything else, you're not walking around there at night. I mean, that's ludicrous to think that they're going to just transform that whole place. They've been trying to do this for 20 years. They wasted how many billions and billions of dollars? It's never happened. Never happened.
Oh, by the way, we can't assume that everybody listening to this program knows what Broad Ripple is. By the way, I think some people asked what is Broad Ripple? Is that a hookup joint? No, well, you've got people like I don't know. I know the old man. Is it the old man or that live way down in southern Indiana?
Oh,
they never would necessarily have been to Broad Ripple. Broad Ripple is if you look it up on the, it's a road, 62nd Street between College Avenue and Keystone Avenue, but more toward College Avenue, and it's where they used to have a great. I guess they still do.
Not much anymore.
Not there anymore, but that's where I used to hang out when they had music 7 nights a week, and the Vogue and the patio and all that good stuff. But it's a bunch of shops and a little. They call it the Broad Ripple Village. But people like Rob used to go get liquored up and hang out and woman watch.
There were all sorts of great things to do. They've totally destroyed it. The place is a fraction of what it once was. It's too bad. Did a lot of fun stuff there.
Shrog Sandwich. I'm from South Bend. Can confirm. The joint is ass, and I'll be heading home Sunday. Yeah. Buck 0707 lived in Elkhart for over 20 years. Elkhart's, I'm sure, I don't know the area that great, but from what I hear, Elkhart will be a little different than maybe the South Bend area.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've got the Amish people and they make trailers up there, I think. They make mobile homes.
I mean, the actual, if you drive in on 31 to South Bend, last time I went, I was blown away with this. It was the roads suck. Looks like some dystopian thing. It was like a blood bank. A check into cash place, car dealership with the cars strung out all over the lot. I mean, there's nothing. They're all law-abiding businesses, but it's like, is that really what you want to be the entryway, the gateway to your community?
Right.
I think there was a gentleman's club there.
Right. And I know we're going over on time, but that's okay because it's Thursday. Today's the last day of the week for us, so we've got a few more here we'll get to, and then we'll head on out. Steve Green with an E. Government needs to stay out of business. Oh, government needs to stay out of the business of business. Government has reverse Midas touch. Tony, Indiana, stay out of the boardroom and the bedroom. Let's see. Okay, you mentioned casino, like the casinos they put in Gary.
Yeah.
And Charles Ludi. Casinos don't actually do much to benefit communities economically either. It's the same with any sports franchise. All who benefit are the owners and profiteers. Or profiteering politicians. And yeah, because you look at say is it the horse track or whatever that is over by I want to say Fairfield. It's not Fairfield. It's 74.
Well, there's Shelbyville.
Okay, Shelbyville. It's not in Shelbyville, but it's okay. What's that called? The Shelbyville what? Is that's not the horse track. That was in Anderson.
No, there's a horse track there in Shelbyville.
Okay. There's nothing around it. So it's not spurring new business. The only people that you go there to the whatever it is in Shelbyville and you go home. There's nothing else around there. It's all still far, and it's been there forever. There's no economic growth in that. The people profiting are the people that own the casino or whatever
casino
it is.
Industry's in big trouble, too, because of all the online sports betting and everything else that's coming to
Right. But point being, that's been there forever, and there's nothing grown up around that. So, yeah, that's to put a casino in, you're giving a few people some jobs, and those, I don't know if those are great paying jobs or not, but let's see. We've got, let's do one more here. All right, perfect way to end. We had John McKinney in the chat
sponsor of our
earlier, Black Sheep Plumbing. Tony, Indiana, I am calling Black Sheep Plumbing when I need my plumbing work done.
Thank you, Tony.
We appreciate that. Let's see, was there And so that'll do it. I guess that'll do it for the chat today. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, we're off tomorrow, so I'll see you Monday.
All right, guys. You guys have
everybody.
a great 4th of July. If you're off tomorrow, enjoy your extended weekend. As Jason said, we're off tomorrow. We'll be back here on Monday. Statehouse Happenings is up. If you just haven't gotten enough Rob Kendall's show, Statehouse Happenings is up under our video tab on YouTube. It is available on all the on-demand podcasting networks as well. Before you head out today, give us that little thumbs up. It really helps us grow the program. And if you're feeling super generous over the extended weekend, support button.
Fairland was what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Hit the support button.
Thanks, C-Mills.
Hit the support button at robkendallshow.com. You guys try to stay cool the next couple days. Have a safe 4th of July. We'll see you back here on Monday. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.